What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. That is not Eric on my right. That is the one, the only, the legend. Maybe picks against the spread champion this year. He's only 2 games back at chat. It's Steven Vaughn. You like my intro? Do you think I could take Mark Mason's job?
No. Maybe.
Should have given it. Hey, I love Mark Mason. He's a Niner fan, too. That's my guy. But maybe I should start working on that. I don't know. I need to introduce my guests with a little bit of flair because you're here because Eric is partying in Vegas. So shout out to him. But man, good to have you. We're just going to talk about this Blazer team in general tonight. This is basically going to be like a Scorching Trails Live, which is a podcast that me and Steven haven't done in like 2 months. But, this team is brutal right now. We are going to be doing more of those.
What's the point of doing it? There was no point of doing this.
Exactly. So, Blazers tonight lose 110-100. We'll talk a little bit about just some of the box score stuff in this game. The Blazers backdoor covered. They were 13.5-point underdogs. They got down by 20. I had Blazers and picks against the spread. Chat had Pels. And I thought I was screwed, man. But I went a whopping 13-2 in picks today, so I'm feeling pretty good. I have a chance of this thing. But Blazers backdoor cover. They get some buckets late, 110-100. They also get the McNuggets, right? I never use it. I don't even know what it is. It's McNuggets, right?
Well, you have to spend $2. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's how cheap the Blazers are. I know everyone wants to pound on the ownership and stuff, and they deserve it for that. The fact that they got rid of Chalupas, the fact that they got rid of anything free, and they're like, no, you have to pay money to get free stuff if we score 100 points. First of all, the Blazers hardly ever score 100 points. So, like, what are we doing here? You know?
They have failed. I heard this on the broadcast. They have failed to reach 100 points 22 times this year, Steven. That's how bad their offense has been.
Yo, the all-time promo they had, though, was the Papa Murphy's 425. You remember that?
No.
If the Blazers were winning with 4:25 left, I don't know if it was the first or second quarter. Like it was like you get a large pizza from Papa Murphy's for 4:25. But we hacked it. We figured out if you just texted Rip City to Papa Murphy's, they'd send you the coupon anyways.
Really?
Yeah. So
I never took advantage of that. I was young. How long ago was that?
I mean, this was years ago. This had to have been 10 years ago, if not more.
We're getting worse and worse on the promos. Next, it's going to be like a small French fry, and then who knows? Then it's going to be Burger King instead of McDonald's. But
then it's like a high five as you leave the arena.
Yeah, exactly. Trevin says at least it's better than Pistons with Wingstop. Wingstop would be a dope promo. The problem is
yeah. What is their Wingstop promo?
Yeah, I know they put Wingstop on the graphics, the post-game graphics, and, they went on that long losing streak, so it's like there's some joke around that I forget, but I would take Wingstop. I would take Chalupas, man. I miss chanting Chalupa in Moda Center, but the Blazers got their hypothetical Chalupas. It's actually McNuggets today. They score 100 points. Your guy dominating, Steven, continues to dominate. 15 for 22. He also, we celebrate every time he shoots a 3, even if he misses it. Because this dude, he said last offseason he worked on his 3-point shot. Before games, he warms up and he's shooting 3s. And then in games, when our team is terrible, our team is broken offensively, we're playing a bunch of young guys, right? That's the perfect time for him to just see if he can catch some confidence behind the arc and turn into something as a 3-point shooter, and he hasn't shot him. So even on nights like tonight where he goes 0 for 1 from 3, me and Eric have celebrated that because at least he freaking shot a 3.
Yeah, I mean, do what you got to do, Deandre. I mean, I feel like I saw some like document that I was like working on before the season, like the stuff to talk about with you, and one of them was like Deandre Ayton, will he shoot 3s? Like that's what we talked about, and then it's like, oh, he's just not going to shoot 3s all year. So yeah, I mean, whatever, just shoot him now. Who else is going to shoot him?
Exactly. So I think it's like 50-50 going into a game whether he shoots a 3 or a free throw. Right? If he can just get one in one of those categories, we're happy. Right? Today, he shot a 3. Not a single free throw, but 15 for 21 inside the arc. It's kind of amazing for a big man to shoot 21 2-pointers, go 15 for 21, and not get to the line, and it be a normal thing.
Yeah, like you wouldn't expect him to shoot a free throw.
Exactly. It's crazy to me. But 30 and 13, I mean, he continues to play well. My thing with him, Steven, he's playing well with a team with no expectations, right? In the past, he's been a guy that struggled when he's faced adversity, whether that's teammates demanding more out of him when he's struggling, whether that's, playoff adversity, whatever, right? And it's like, I feel like a lot of Blazer fans are getting excited with how he's playing right now, which he's playing really good basketball right now. He's, I think, averaging 20 and 13 since the All-Star break, and he's one of 3 bigs, and the other 2, Anthony Davis and I believe Nikola Jokic. That's good company to be in, but it is going to be interesting to see if he's on this team once they get better. Who knows when that is, but does he play at this level? Like, is this the new Deandre Ayton, or is this just the old Deandre Ayton where he has a good stretch when expectations aren't high and he's going to still be inconsistent? I'm not sure.
I mean, at least the thing is like we've seen it, right? Like he actually has played well. Like it's better this than if he was playing bad and really just stopped caring. So yeah. Like I'm down with it that he's playing this. I think you and me both know better than to expect this going into next season. But like I would say my expectations have changed a little bit. Like I have a little higher hopes for him going into next year. Like if the team is trying to be competitive, which that's what they say they're going to be. They say they're going to be competitive next year, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're going to have a talk about that a little bit later, and we're also going to talk about, I forgot to tease this in the intro, Steven has a Anthony Simons player comp that he says is a great player comp, and we're going to try and guess it later on. Then we're going to see who it is. That's going to be fun. But Scoot, 7 for 18, 2 for 10 from 3, 19 points, 15 assists, 8 turnovers, right? Like 8 turnovers doesn't look good, but I guess 15 assists. I've had this conversation with Eric as well, and I'm kind of curious about your thoughts and if they align more with me or Eric on some of the things we've disagreed on. And one of the things that we've debated recently is Scoot's passing and playmaking. Like, has it been disappointing in his rookie year? Tonight, 15 assists, you love to see that. But in general, he's averaging, I believe, per 36, like 6.5 assists, somewhere around there. That's going to be bumped up a little bit after tonight. And I've been on the side of I haven't been disappointed with his passing and playmaking simply because A, he needs time, and B, you look at a lot of other rookie guards and they're not out here getting 7, 8, 9 assists, making the reads that they ultimately end up making once they get more experience, right? You look at Halliburton, even Luka, as rookies, those guys aren't passing the ball at the elite level they end up passing it at. Eric has been a little bit disappointed. Where do you side on that debate? Have you been disappointed with his overall passing and playmaking this year, or is it about what you expected?
I would say I'm a little disappointed. Like I can say I expected a little more out of Scoot, but I'm also not worried about it, right? Like I think he's going to be fine, and there's definitely some things he does that are mind-boggling. Like he has some really bad turnovers, but he had a couple times today, Tori, where like he's gonna go completely 100% speed right at you, not stopping, just go into the defense. But he had a couple times today where like he went and stopped and then set up the offense and then did something else, went to the pick and roll. And it's like those are the type of things I like to see at a Scoot, rather than just, I'm going to just go to the balls to the wall every single play. That's what I want to see. And so I'm happy to see those type of things, and I do have faith that he'll turn into a good basketball player. I don't know if he's ever going to be maybe the superstar that Blazer fans are promised, or I still think he has superstar potential written all over him. Like the guy is really good, and the guy is athletic. He's great size. I will say the lack of explosiveness at the rim is a little bit alarming. But from what I hear, like he works really hard all the time, like every day, like he is in the gym working on his game. So it's not going to be a question of work ethic. Like it's just going to be a question of, can he figure it out? And I think he does. I think he can figure it out. He kind of has a good mindset. So I will say, like, long-winded answer, but I am a little disappointed. I thought he'd be a little more NBA ready just with those 2 years of the G League. I knew he wasn't going to come in and dominate or anything like that, but a little disappointed, but I'm not worried any bit at all.
Hey, this is the place for long-winded answers. Me and Eric will normally go 2 hours.
I'm so used to the radio where it's like I got to be concise and go like 20, 30 seconds.
No, I know. I'll listen to you, and it's like, man, I feel like Steven might have had a little bit more to say, but he's trying to be concise. This is why it's fun to just kick back on YouTube. We got a lot of people that watch it after the fact. We'll watch the whole thing. Shout out to those people for making it all possible. But the talk about his work ethic is why I haven't worried about him, even when he struggled. Right, because I think in the end, work ethic is a huge thing for a lot of young prospects. That's the thing with Dame, is he worked his ass off on his game, and that was huge for him becoming the player that he ultimately became. Kawhi Leonard had a historic work ethic that led to him becoming the 2-time champ and the player that he became. So ultimately, Scoot, hearing everything about how he works hard, works on his game, seems like the type to live in the gym as well, given his athletic gifts, like that's why I'm not worried about what he's doing at 19 or 20. Obviously, it'd be nice to see him start dominating. That'd be great, but we get a lot of people in our post-game shows that are just like trade Scoot or really down on Scoot and just overreacting to a rookie year that maybe wasn't up to expectations, but I think expectations were a little bit too high, maybe even my own. I did try to preach patience for people going into the season because at the G League, he got away with being quicker and more athletic than everyone. It's harder to get away with just being able to do that at the NBA level as a point guard. Like, you need a level of nuance to your game. You need to be able to change pace. You need to be able to set up your passes because guys are longer, quicker, right? So passing lanes, you have to set up those passes in a certain way that in the G League you might not have to. And all of a sudden a pass that gets through in the G League, Scoot's throwing it to a defender, and it's like, okay, what the hell was that? It's mind-boggling, right? So I think there's just a level of nuance that he's developing, and you kind of touched upon it with him being able to put on the brakes a little bit more, use his acceleration, his speed to put some pressure on the defense, but knowing when to slow down and make a kick-out pass or just make the right play is huge for him. So that's why I haven't worried about him at all. And 15 assists tonight looks really good. He can kind of just feed some of those assists to Ayton on the pick and roll with Ayton's mid-range shots. It's a very easy assist, right? So I'm not too...
Well, that's an underrated part right there, is when he has a guy like Ayton who's been able to knock down that mid-range jumper. And I know we don't like mid-range jumpers, but like... if he's going to knock it down, that's going to help Scoot out a lot because the lack of a jump shot just kills him. Like, everyone just goes under every single pick, even from 18 feet out. And it's like, yeah, Scoot can shoot that shot every time, but you can't do that. Like, you're not going to want to do that. So to have like that safety valve of Ayton does help him a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And Scoot shot the ball rough tonight, 2 for 10 from the 3-point line, but the 3 games before that, 4 for 7, 2 for 4, 3 for 7. These are the types of games that we want to see him put together. Don't know exactly where he's going to be as a shooter next season. He had that really bad 2 for 24 start. Started wearing goggles. I think his form has gotten a little bit better as the season has gone on. I went back and watched every 3-point attempt from him, putting together the review videos I'm going to do after the season, and his form does look better than it did at the start of the season. His base is more consistent. Just looks a little bit more fluid. So I'm hopeful that he can be a guy that at least can make defenses pay for going under. I think.
What have you found with when he's shooting the ball better? Is it like off of a pick and roll, or is it a catch and shoot, or is it like just dribble pull up? Like what is it shooting best?
I think it's in general. His shot, his base looked a little stiff at the start of the year. He has a little bit more sway, I think. And it's kind of hard to even explain because it's more of just an eye test thing where his shot looks a little bit more fluid. As a shooter, you transfer all that energy from the ground up through your shot, up through your release, right? And some guys have, one fluid motion. Steph Curry is a perfect example. Damian Lillard is a good example, right? And some guys, it's just not as fluid, and I think that was Scoot at the start of the year. I think his shot does look a little bit better. His misses aren't as bad. And maybe that's something that people don't care about, but I do think it means something, right? Because he had some horrible, horrible misses at the start of the season. And he'll have one here or there still, but overall, like, his shot, even on his misses, is a lot closer. And his percentages, he's 31% on the season with a 2 for 24 start. He's actually almost 32% on the season with that 2 for 24 start. I'm hopeful that, with how hard he works, a summer in the gym, he's going to be able to be a guy that you can't necessarily go under on, and then it'll just make it easier for him to hit the lane, to turn the corner off the pick and roll if he's forcing guys over, to use his athleticism. The paint's not going to be as packed because right now he's driving at guys going under screens or sagging on him. So that's my big hope. I do think he needs to get down that little, you're going off a screen going left, Steven, and guys that run into it, they run into it right, left, going to the left, and basically immediately pull up. He does have some weird footwork on some of his pull-ups when defenders go under. That makes it tough for him to consistently shoot the ball, in my opinion. That is something for him to work on. Overall, happy with where he's at. I'm okay with some turnovers if he's dishing the ball, 15 assists in a game like tonight. Would obviously like to see him shoot a little bit better, but it's a fine game from Scoot.
There's also times when Ryan Rupert is just dropping a pass that hits him right in the hands, or Justin Minaya, you know, starts running without the ball before he catches it. Yeah, there's also those type of things too. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, I understand the worry that people have about Scoot because your favorite guy, Joe Cronin, definitely hyped him up before the season, like he was going to come in and be an all-star. And so when you hear your GM talk like that, you expected it a lot. But I think you and me both kind of knew like it wasn't going to be that good, but we weren't expecting it to be this rough at the start. So it's kind of in the middle of everything where I feel like it's okay. Like I want more, but there's always going to be, at least I see like room for improvement. And I see flashes of him where you're like, that's going to work later on in your career. Like when you figured it out and you have figured out the NBA game for 3-4 years, like you have to be smart. And you said the nuances of everything and how to score in the NBA, because it's an art. Like it really is an art of like how to score in the NBA. It's a completely different game than every other basketball game. And you watch the good scores, like they are so tactical with what they do. And I think Scoot does some things that you're like, all right, that's going to work later on in his career when he figures it out.
You know what he is? He's a perfect example of a player that looks really impressive on highlight tapes, right? And
the YouTube era, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people
Gen
watch
Zers.
Yeah, no, I'm a millennial. Barely.
Are you?
Thank goodness. 96. When did Gen Z start? Let me Google that. When did Gen Z start? The starting birth years for Gen Z are mid to late 1990s. Okay, I guess I could be both.
Yeah, because it says millennials were born between 81 and 96.
Yeah.
Gen Z 97 to 2012.
Yeah. So I'm a millennial. I'm one of you. I'm a
smack dab millennial, Karen, all those. That's what I am.
Man, that's crazy. I have a sister that's a year younger than me. She's Gen Z. We're different generations technically.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah, no, millennial.
But no, you are right. Like YouTube, like the YouTube highlights, the Twitter highlights, social media, like he kills at that because he looks great in uniform. Like he is built, he's strong, he's quick, he's fast. He'll have a sick dunk, and you're like, this is pretty easy for this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like LaMelo.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Going back, looking over some of his best plays, is like I could put together a highlight clip where he looks like the same player he looked for the G League Ignite, right? And I feel like a lot of people just watched his Ignite highlights, right? Because nobody's watching the Ignite, and nobody will be watching the Ignite because they're done now. But they watched his highlights, and now that they're watching him game in, game out, it's like, okay, what, he's struggling with this, he's struggling with that. Like, he doesn't look like the same player. But if you go back and look at some game film, I think it was possible to predict some of these struggles. Of course, this is hindsight bias. It's easier to go back after he's played a year in the league and be like, okay, well, this thing he was doing in the G League, he's going to struggle with in the NBA. But I truly do think that, he had some struggles in the G League. He wasn't the most efficient player. He shot 42% from the field. Like, yeah, he's going to come into the league as a 6'3" guy and struggle around the rim with shot blockers and certain things. Yeah.
And we all knew the jump shot was gonna be a process. Like that wasn't a surprise. And so I think you're like, and it's okay to adjust your thoughts and your expectations in the middle of the way. Like we're all wrong about things. So like I think it is okay. Like we should stop. Let's just say it now, Tori. I need you to agree to this. We're going to stop with the precursor of like, oh, I thought this about Scoot, so those are my expectations. No, like there's new expectations for Scoot. Like let's just forget what we thought before the season. Like just go forward and talk about what he can do and what we think he's going to do, because I think it's okay we have enough of a sample size now. Like he's played a whole season, right? So I think the sample size is there. We're like, okay, we can kind of finally evaluate what's going on with Scoot.
I 100% agree with that. And that's kind of how I've been thinking about it too, is, he is what he is right now at the NBA level, and he's shown us what he is at the NBA level. I'm excited.
We can throw out the G League. The G League's done with Scoot. Like all those highlights, all the stuff we saw, throw that out. We can see what he's done in the NBA now and go off of that.
Yeah, and you can see the upside with the NBA film, right? And it's like he shows things in the NBA that show why he was taken third overall. it's not like he hasn't flashed the upside in the NBA that he did when he was in the G League. So yeah, we can throw that tape away, right? Because in the G League, with his film before he gets to the NBA and drafting a guy at 3rd overall, you're drafting him for what he could ultimately become. He's shown the upside, right? It's obviously just comes down to him putting in the work and adding some nuance to his game that he struggles with, and he's worked on that, and he's gotten better at changing pace. I think he's gotten better handling the ball. He's gotten better hitting the 3-point shot. He's started to finish a little bit better. He does have a problem of like throwing his body wildly into defenders and throwing up some terrible layups, but he has gotten it to the line at times because of that, right? So it's just learning when to do that, when he can get to the line and when he shouldn't. So just a lot of things to learn at the NBA level, and I am fully with you on just throwing out the whole what he was supposed to be G League thing. Like, we know what he is, and I'm excited to see what he does after a summer of work. I'm excited to see what he comes back as next year, because I think he'll be noticeably better.
If the Blazers had the 2nd pick in the draft last year, and knowing what we know, would you take Brandon Miller or Scoot?
I mean, just with this team, you got Simons and Sharp. I would probably take Brandon Miller. You could also talk me into Amen Thompson, because I still love Amen Thompson. And I think he's been
even after the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, he had some good games for the Rockets.
He's been a great defender too.
Yeah, getting like 11 rebounds a game, 4 assists. He might not be able to shoot, but he might be one of those guys where it doesn't matter because he's so good at everything else. And it's easier to find a shooter than it is to find an athletic freak that can finish really well, get 11 rebounds per game at a small forward spot, handle the ball, push the pace, drop dimes, all of that stuff.
Well,
right?
honestly,
so
everyone
I like
always tried
the
to figure
unique
out
players.
We all try to figure out who the next Draymond is. Like, Amen Thompson might be the closest thing to what Draymond is if he fulfills his potential.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the type of guy. You're not going to find that guy in the NBA because they're few and far between, and teams that end up with those types of role players really value them, and they can play a part on a winning team. So you could even talk me into Amen over Brandon Miller still. I had Amen over Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller is just like the flashier prospect right now with some of the things he can do offensively and shoot, and he's the cleaner fit off the ball next to stars. But with Simons and Sharp, I would go Miller. If you're just starting a team from scratch, I still would probably go Scoot. I feel like we're gonna look back in a couple years and be like, man, people freaking out about him as a rookie. That was silly.
I agree with you. I think Scoot's gonna be fine. I do think that and maybe this is just a downfall of the Blazers, but I do think there are a little bit of concerns with the Blazers on Scoot. Now, I'm not saying they're going to try to trade him or look to do anything like that. I think they are going to build with him because they're kind of stuck with that. Like, that's their only option, is to say, look, we're just building around Scoot. But I think they have a little bit of worry there. Because I had heard, like, if they had to redraft, like, maybe they would have drafted Brandon Miller if they had the option. Like, if they had the 2nd pick, they might have taken Brandon Miller. I don't know if that's true. I always thought it was Scoot the whole way. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just an interesting thought, just knowing what we have after a year and kind of the rough start Scoot's had. But he's had a bounce back, last month this season when he's, got back in the starting lineup. So I'm with you. I think Scoot's the right answer, just because I feel like there's still more unknown. Like, I feel like I know what Brandon Miller is going to be. Like, he's going to be able to score. He's going to be able to shoot. I don't know that he's ever going to be, maybe he is Paul George, maybe he's not, but he's going to be a really good offensive player. But, like, is it going to be a guy that can pass? Is it going to be a guy that can, make for others? I don't know. I think Scoot still has potential to be that guy, like, be the lead guard, handle the ball. So Scoot's the right answer still.
Yeah, I could see the logic behind either argument there, for sure. But at this point, it's funny because a lot of people know me as the negative guy, and I had somebody on Twitter.
They're not wrong.
Dude, I had somebody on Twitter recently. I had a tweet. I'll find it. I had a tweet.
I love the what did Tory tweet game. That's one of my favorite things.
I've tweeted a lot recently.
I know, almost too much. I've almost had to mute it.
My tweets are good. What do you mean?
When you tweet about the Mariners, that's when I'm out.
Why?
Why?
You don't laugh at my pain?
I don't need to. Oh, dude. Oh, trust me.
Exactly. I am a miserable Mariners fan. Did we lose today?
Of course, I'm sure they did. I know they were down. They made a nice little comeback.
We lost again. We're 4-8. We suck. Our ownership sucks. You're gonna get me going about the Mariners. I would just laugh at the pain of being a Mariners fan if I were you.
I followed Did the Mariners Win Twitter account.
I don't even tweet that much about the Mariners. I could tweet a lot more. I could tweet a lot more about the Mariners, but nah, man. I had a tweet that said, rewatching every Scoot Henderson made three and have to give credit to whoever's working with him on his jump shot this season. Noticeable improvements in balanced transfer of energy and release timing. Shot looks much more effortless compared to early in the season. Hopefully he can translate this into running into pull-up threes and off screens and working in some hesitations off of that in the future would be lethal. And I had a guy, I think he listens to Chad. I had a guy said, "Hey, finally the optimistic side of Torrey comes out. Go Scoot, go Blazers." It's like, bro, I've been optimistic in battling Scoot criticism all season long, but yes, I'm finally positive on Scoot. Drives me crazy.
Chris Bassett had given up 20 hits and walks in 9 innings going into today's game. Only gave up 9. 5 hits, 6 2/3.
We suck. We can't hit. Julio has a 130 batting average, 216 on base.
Okay, but why did I feel like I got this argument with you in the offseason?
No, that's JP Crawford. Julio's pretty bad, though.
Like, you love DePoto. You think DePoto's good. Why did he not just go out and get a bat?
I mean, he got Mitch Garver.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Okay, you just proved my point.
He didn't. Mitch Haniger back?
Sweet. He made a sweet trade for Josh Rojas last year and Dominic Canzone. Oh, he got Luke Raley.
Hey, Josh Rojas.
He can play every position.
Our best hitter so far this year. Well, he's a platoon. He doesn't play it full time, but he's 360 average, 385 on base, 400 slugging.
Yeah, Garver is 222 on base.
Yeah, we're a mess, bro. We're a mess.
Sorry.
We're cursed. We suck.
Go Blazers.
We bring in good players, and they immediately become worse. It's kind of like the Blazers with good defensive players.
It's like the Blazers.
Yeah. I don't know
you
what
what's always fun is when guys like Cody Zeller are on the Pelicans, and you're like, oh yeah, remember he used to be on the Blazers? That was kind of cool.
Yeah, we waved Zeller as a running joke in our community. I don't know if that's
dude.
I
actually thought Cody Zeller was going to be a solid NBA player coming out of Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, so did Charlotte. They drafted him fourth. That was crazy. The thing is those types of bigs, nobody drafts that high anymore, except maybe this year
when they draft Donovan Clingan.
How mad? Well, you don't really get mad at things this team does, do you?
I don't. No, I don't. It just rolls off my chest.
Is there anything this team could do that would legitimately piss you off? Or legitimately make you mad that they did something?
I'm trying to think.
Other than moving to Seattle?
Yeah, I mean that would obviously make me mad. I definitely wouldn't be a fan of the Blazers franchise. The root sports thing really bothers me a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's kind of one thing that really bothers me is the whole fact that not only the Blazers suck so bad. Now is the time that you need to have it on free TV for everyone to watch. My kids are 9 and 5, and they like the Blazers because I work in sports. I work in sports radio, so I watch sports when I can, and they're watching with me. So I'm you will be a Blazer fan. And so the older one likes to play basketball, so of course he likes the Blazers. But if you had just some random kid that didn't care about basketball, he liked sports but didn't wasn't super into it, there's no chance you're going to be watching the Blazers and becoming fans. And when I was a kid, it was yeah, I'm watching the Blazers because they're actually good and they're on KGW and they're making the playoffs and I get to hear Shans and Snapper Steve Jones. But now we can't even get it on Root Sports. You can't even get it anywhere. Just put it on Fox on satellite TV so we can all watch them for free, just like these other teams are doing. That actually does make me mad. But on the court and off season wise, team wise, what could they do that makes me mad?
Stab Dame in the back? Oh.
No, that made me happy actually.
Oh man.
I don't know. I mean, I was never happy with what they did, but like it didn't make me mad because I knew it was going to happen.
You're true, like a true medium member. This is why me and Eric are over here on YouTube screaming our brains out over nothing, and you do what you do.
Well, the problem is like, and I love to brag about this because I used to work for the Blazers guys. I don't know if you guys knew this. I used to work in their scouting department. I have my badge if you want to see it, but it's like that did hurt like my true fandom because before that, Tori, like I was habitually watching every game, every minute, had to be there. Like I remember when I was like 25, I made it a point. Like I told Coach Vaughn, I was like, dude, I'm watching every Blazer game. I'm watching every minute. Like I don't care what we're doing. We can't have plans. I'm watching this. So like it, and then when you work for the team, it's a little different. And then they let you go. You're always going to hold a little bit of grudge against them.
Yeah. Different front office though.
Oh yeah, that was like 4 front offices ago. I think I started with Pritchard, and then it went to Cho, and then he got fired, and then it went to Buchanan. I think I made it through Buchanan, and then I got to O'Shea, and then I got let go during the Neil O'Shea era. Because I did meet him once. I met Neil O'Shea one time.
How was that?
Cool. He could not have cared less to talk to me. I said, hey, what's up? And I shook his hand, and he's like, hey, and that was it. It was great.
Yeah. So no bullying. No.
Yeah, he didn't bully me.
Bullying.
I was not bullied. Show the badge. I'll go get the badge.
Yeah, go get the badge. Go get the badge.
It's in my wallet because I use it at Blazer games. I get 40% off everything.
Do you really?
I do.
That's funny. That's funny. We're going to get the Steven badge. You're muted. Yeah, I can't hear you. What'd you do?
There we go. Hey.
There you go.
I don't know. I threw something and it hit it. 40% off, man. 40% off food, 40% off gear, everything. So anyone needs anything, let me know. Maybe I'll try to hook you up.
Dude, yeah, next time I go to a game next year, I'm going to have to see if you're going to a game so you can buy me those. Have you ever had they're kind of messy, but there's this Hawaiian place that has really good chicken nachos with like pineapple.
So there's the badge. But I had hair and it's all worn out now.
And it still works?
Hell yeah.
Is it supposed to still work?
Probably not. I've only had one person be like, that seems pretty old. And I'm like, I don't go into the office.
Judging me for shaving my head?
Yeah, you jerks.
Yeah. The old logo and everything, yeah. You need to like add an updated logo to it.
I should, yeah, that's the problem.
Although, at what point is that legally questionable? I don't know. We're not gonna get Steven into trouble over here. But dude, where was I going with that? Oh, Cody Zeller.
Talking about what makes him mad. Yeah, Cody Zeller.
Yeah. Bigs like that don't go in the top 5 anymore, except maybe this year. And that was obviously a reference to Donovan Clingan, although Donovan Clingan isn't too similar to Cody Zeller. Like, at least he'll be able to play elite defense. But, bro.
Tori, I don't know if you know, though. He's a big, tall, white guy, just like Cody Zeller.
Oh, God, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Okay.
Chet Holmgren has officially retired that narrative, okay?
Okay, but
proved you and here. Chad wrong.
I admit I was wrong. I didn't think Chet was going to be this good offensively.
I tried to tell you. I was like, because people were like, it's the whole correlation thing. Look at all the white American-born big men that have been drafted. No. And yes, it was a lot of us, but none of them could do anything like Chet Holmgren can do. None of them could move like him. None of them could shoot like him. None of them could pass or dribble like him. And I tried to tell people that, like, this dude is different. You're just a Gonzaga fan.
Well, when I watched Chet, I just didn't see the offensive ability that he has.
What do you mean?
I didn't see it.
You were blinded by
by
something.
His skin?
Something,
No,
yeah.
I thought he'd be a really good player. I knew he'd be good defensively, and I just didn't know that he should be the second pick in the draft and that he was going to turn out to be this. That's all.
For me, it's like there's more space in the NBA. He's a big guy, right? In college, like you could tell he could dribble. You could tell he could shoot. The problem is the paint is more packed. It was a little harder for him. In the NBA, where the floor is more spaced, he has room to drive, spin, dunk. Drive, cross. Like, his talent was always there. So, but I just got called a Gonzaga homer.
The
every time
three-point
I tried
shot's
to
gone
call
down a little bit the second half of the year for Chet. But
yeah, but he was shooting. Is he still shooting above 40%?
I don't think it's about 40 anymore. But I mean, he was literally just making everything to start the season. Like that wasn't going to be sustainable.
It was absurd for him to come in as a rookie. And people were like, he's not a real rookie. It's like his first year playing in the league.
Yeah, he's down to 37%.
That's still good. 80% free throw.
Really good. Really
like,
good. Yeah.
He was almost 50, 40, 80 as a rookie big man. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. So that's the type of guy the Blazers need, right? A big that can move, shoot, pass, dribble. Okay? This is why I really want Alex Sarr. I don't know how much of him you've watched, Steven, but he's like the one guy.
Go check out my TikTok on 750 The Game on TikTok. I made a draft take, and I did put an Alex Sarr highlight in there. So there you go.
That's my guy. That's the guy I'm praying for right now. Like, nobody else in this class for the Blazers intrigues me anywhere near as much as him. Because ultimately, here's the thing with him. You're going to have to find somebody long-term that can maybe slow down Wemby and not let him drop 40 on you.
Yeah, well, that's going to be impossible. Impossible.
Unless you have a 7-1 guy that can move, though.
Tori, is Wemby already a top 5 player in the NBA?
Not yet, but next year
next
he could
season?
Be.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to have somebody that has a chance at slowing him down. That's not Deandre Ayton.
Chris Murray. I think you forgot about him.
He's trying to make me throw up. Alex Sarr, like, he can move his feet so he could guard him on the perimeter. Like, Wemby's still going to be able to get shots off and do things, right? But at least you challenge him with a guy that can move and is 7'1" and jumps quick, has good defensive instincts. Like, right? You're going to need somebody to guard him. You're going to need somebody to guard Chet if you ever want to win a ring in the West in the next decade, because San Antonio with Wemby and OKC are going to be running the Western Conference for the next decade, probably. Yeah. So you need a guy like that can play at a 4, play at a 5, right? You can go big. That's how you battle that. And it's like you look at Evan Mobley. Yes, he's not a star, but he's come in and had a huge impact on that defense. Cleveland has been able to make 2 small guards work and be a top 10 defense this year because they have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And then Dean Wade off the bench is good defensively, really underrated. So if you're going to have, Scoot, Simons, Sharp, some combination of that, I still don't trust any one of those guys to become good defenders. You're probably going to want a 4 that can be like your Evan Mobley. So Alex Sarr's that guy for me. Offensively, he is raw but is intriguing given his size. The fact that he can put the ball on the floor a little bit, shoot a little bit at that size is intriguing. That is absolutely the guy. Okay? You want to know something that would piss me off? If the Blazers get the number 1 pick and then they take Zachary Ricochet over him. Disgusting.
I mean, I can't comment too much on him. That second guy, whatever you said, I can't pronounce his name. Yeah, Ricochet. Yeah, we were talking about it one time, and so I started looking at him, and yeah, I mean, he wasn't that impressive. I'll be honest, from what I've seen, but I haven't dug in enough. Like, I can't give a proper opinion. But I'm with you with Sarr. Like, you told me about him months ago, and I'm like, all right, I'll check him out. Because you're more locked into those international guys. Like, who these guys are. It's like, you're my go-to on those people. Like, I watch the college game. I watch a lot of college basketball. But, like, international guys, that's all you. And so, like, you told me about Sarr, I check him out. I was like, I think he, in a draft that doesn't have anything, like there's no guarantees, right? Like, you could have the first pick of the draft, and it's probably not going to be Anthony Bennett bad, but it could be really bad, like, the way it turns out. I think with Sarr, he has some of the highest ceiling that you could have. And that's all I would want in a draft like this. Like, you got to shoot for the stars in this one. I think Sarr is the type of guy Yeah, so Sarr would be my pick if I was number one right now for the Blazers. So hopefully the Blazers do get him. He could. Yeah, you play him next to DeAndre and let him just kind of run around and be a guy.
I'm gonna laugh my ass off at the team that takes Donovan Clingan top 5.
Hey, he had a great tournament and he shut down Zach Edey.
Which,
by the way,
this.
can we talk about the national title game real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Zach Edey was getting a lot of trash talked about him, even during the game and after the game. Like, I understand he's not great, right? But
yeah,
dude put up 37.
He's an effing winner, Steven.
Dude put up 37, and he was 15 and 25. You want to know what the rest of his teammates were? 9 of 29. Like, let's put a little bit of blame on Braden Smith. Let's put a little blame on Foster Lawyer. Like, what are we doing here? Let's put a lot of blame on Matt Painter. They shot 7 threes, I think, Tori. 7 or 8 threes in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you thought you were going to go beat UConn, the team who's covered 11 straight NCAA tournament games, and you're only going to shoot 7 or 8 threes? Like, that's your game plan? I get, like, they went single coverage on Edey, let him 8, and just go down low. Like, hey, so go ahead and score 2s with Zach Edey. We'll take our chances. But figure something out, Matt Painter. Like, Edey was the one guy who played well, and everyone hated him.
Yeah.
My Edey rant.
I mean,
for the record, I don't think he's a great NBA player. I think he has a spot in the league, but it's like a 5-minute a half spot, and that's it.
He's Boban.
Yes, he is Boban.
Maybe a little bit more conditioned.
Yeah.
I think he can be like a 20-minute a game backup center, and you can build your bench around playing through him.
Oh, see, I can't even see that, dude. He's gonna get killed defensively, Tori. He can't guard anybody because of the pick and roll. He just drops.
But I mean, in today's NBA, where it's all about scoring, like, is that too much of a problem? If it's a bench where you just chase guys downhill to him.
I mean, like, if he can score like he did this year, I guess it's not a problem. But that's why I think it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's just weird though, because like if he's in a game, a team almost has to change the way they play because you got to run drop with him, and it makes no sense to play him if you're not just gonna feed him the ball.
Yeah,
but it's like, can he be a lethal pick and roll big? They didn't run much pick and roll, so that's the thing with Edey. It's like every year, there's teams that do good, and there's a big man that like dominates college basketball. And then people start having the conversation of like, why isn't this guy a top 10 pick? Why isn't this guy in conversation for the number 1 pick? There was one of your guys, media member, won't say who, brought up a tweet saying like, why isn't Clingan? Huh? What's up?
Name names.
Initials are CH. Had a tweet that said, why isn't Clingan in the conversation for the number 1 overall pick? Because it was like when UConn was playing and Clingan was looking dominant. And it's like, man, every year there's always these bigs that people start overrating at the NBA level because they're dominating college. And it's like certain guys' games don't translate. Luka Garza dominated college basketball. He's a 3rd-string big, okay? And this happened with Edey. This tournament run, this is happening right now with Clingan. People talking about him as a top 5 pick is absurd to me. Absurd. Even in a poor draft at the top. Absurd. He's a role player. Like, Walker Kessler should not be a top 5 pick. Like, that's who I think he is, right? Is Walker Kessler. It even happened with my guy, and this is how you know I'm not biased. It even happened with my guy, Drew Timme, where people started talking about him as like a potential 1st-round pick, early 2nd-round pick. I'm like, guys, he's not an NBA player. I love the guy as a Gonzaga fan, but his game doesn't translate to the league. You got to be able to defend in space as a big. That's why you have bigs that don't physically dominate college basketball, but they're quick enough. They get to the league, and they're able to be really good defenders, and they become decent players. Like Nick Claxton is nothing compared to Zach Edey in college basketball, but he gets into the league. He's a really good defender because he can switch and defend in space as a big man and block shots. So that's where it's like,
there's always this guy that gives those bumps in the NCAA tournament that has a good tournament run, you know.
See, if it's like a wing, okay, I get it, but it's always these big men that just dominate because they're physically dominant.
Well, it's like we were talking about before the pod, or I guess this isn't a pod, this is a live show here, live on the air. We were talking about the women's game and how, like, you know, like it was awesome, like, to see that happen and stuff, but like the women's game and the men's game, it's the same sport, but it's a different game. Like
Yeah.
they're both playing basketball, but the way they play basketball is so different with the men and the women's game, even on the college level. Then you go to the NBA, like the NBA in college, same sport, completely different game. Like you are playing such a different game. And so you have to somehow try to like figure out how they're going to translate to a whole new game of basketball. It's almost like you take what you can from the college game and you figure it out that way. But like if you can't, it's not apples to apples. It's definitely like apples to oranges. It's just completely different. So like Zach Edey, yeah, I think he has a spot. Klingon has a spot to play in the NBA, but like anyone that thinks they're going to be like really good players or should be a top pick in the draft, like someone in the media, I think his name was Kevin Hahn, something like that. I think like they're wild and they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, certain guys' games just translate different, big men wise, and it's like the perfect example. Drew Timme, Elite Eight. You remember they played USC when they had Evan Mobley, and Drew Timme was the best player on the court in that game. But now you look at it, Evan Mobley is a starter on a home court advantage playoff team in the East. Drew Timme, unfortunately, just hasn't gotten a chance. And Drew Timme would not be able to start for the Cavaliers in place of Evan Mobley.
Has Timme gotten a spot in the NBA yet? Has he played a minute yet?
I'm not sure. I know he's on a two-way with the Bucks.
Is he? Okay. I just don't remember if he ever actually has like gotten to the game yet. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
No, he doesn't have any stats
on
the reference. Let me look up G League stats. I am curious. I haven't really been paying attention to their G League. I'm
kind of surprised he hasn't gotten like, the last couple games. Man, what roster was it today that I was looking at? Maybe the Raptors. Might have been the Raptors. I was looking at who was actually playing for him, and I'm like, man, this is like a college basketball fan's dream lineup, right?
Yeah.
No, dude, it was the Grizzlies. That's what it was. The Grizzlies lineup.
They started some dude named Timmy Allen today. Is that Tony Allen reincarnated? And the Spurs are only 5-point favorites. I doubled down on that so quick. That was such an easy
He played at
win.
Utah, then went to Texas. But they had Jack White. Remember Jack White from Duke?
That just sounds like such a generic college basketball player that would play at Duke that I don't really remember him.
Jack White, Scottie Pippen Jr., Darren Giroux DeJohn Giroux from
Giroux, yeah.
Xavier Simpson from Michigan, and then
that's
Teddy
the guard
Allen.
That shoots those hook shots, right?
Yeah, I love Teddy Allen when he was at Utah. Dude was a baller. Like that. I should have watched that game, the Spurs and Grizzlies.
Yeah,
that'd have been my favorite game of the year.
Oh man, did you also double down on the Spurs today?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was such an easy double down. Like, why are they only 5-point favorites? They've been playing good lately.
They actually try. They try.
Yeah.
And Wemby was playing.
Exactly. I did not understand that spread at all. Easy dub for me today. 13-2, and you went like 11-4. We cooked today, in picks. But
I just want everyone to know I was in last place after like first couple weeks. You were laughing at me. Just what a heroic effort. It just, you know what? Sometimes people go through some hard times, Tori, and I went through some hard times, and I've battled through, and I've got to the end here. I got a chance to win. Let's give me some props.
Dude, your season in picks against the spread resembles Scoot's rookie season. I mean, you're both rookies. We can't expect you to hit the ground running.
Yeah, you know what? I was a rookie coming in with picks against the spread. I wasn't ready for it. No. Cronin hyped me up. Dude.
Stephen Vaughn. I'm trying to think of what Cronin would say to hype you up.
This guy's been gambling for 20, or for not 20. I'm not that old. This guy's been gambling for 15 years. He's coming in to pick against the spread. He's going to be great.
Yeah, he's not your normal rookie. He has experience at this level.
He's been to Las Vegas double-digit times.
Man, you and Eric alike, man. You guys love Vegas, huh?
Oh, dude. I've been to Vegas like 4 or 5 times for the NCAA tournament. Like first round, so fun.
That would be fun for the tournament.
So fun, dude.
I went for Summer League. It was a little rough.
I've been there during Summer League, and Coach Vaughn will be like, "Hey, do you want to go watch the Summer League games?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I just want to be in Vegas." So I'm not trying to go watch Blazers Summer League basketball.
So Drew Timme's G League stats: he's played 12 games, 21 minutes a game, 9.6 boards, 59% from the field. Like, those are decent G League stats. The problem is he's 6'10", so he's too short and unathletic to be a center. And at the power forward position, he doesn't shoot.
Is he shoot? I was gonna say, is he shooting threes?
he shot 8 threes in 12 games. He's 4 for 8, but like that's not enough for. He's just not a good enough 3-point shooter where teams just won't leave him alone at the NBA level, and basically you have to play him next to a shooting big. Okay, but the problem is Timmy at the 4 is just going to get beat off the dribble consistently. Like, could you imagine him defending Jeremy Grant on the perimeter? No chance.
No, I couldn't.
No chance. So
Jeremy Grant would be shooting 18-footers all day.
Well, he should be shooting threes or getting dunks, honestly. But knowing Jeremy Grant, yeah, that probably is true.
Hey, I love those stats they showed. That's like Jeremy Grant takes the toughest jumpers in the NBA. It's like, cool. That's not a good stat to have. So you don't get open shots.
You know how efficient he is off the ball? Shots? He's so efficient off the ball.
Very.
They don't use him off the ball. They just force feed him constantly. And it's like you're in a rebuilding year, Steven. So you should be trying to develop young players, teaching them how to like move off the ball, move the ball, attack the gaps when they catch the ball, right? Like you should be cultivating some sort of offensive identity around like, okay, we're going to play off each other, play off a team. That's one of my biggest critiques of Chauncey, by the way, is like offensively and defensively, they still have basically no identity and they've made no progress. Like it's frustrating to me. Because Jeremy Grant will come back from like 2 weeks out from injury and they'll immediately just force feed him in the post where he's extremely inefficient. Meanwhile, he's like insanely efficient off the ball. And it's just like, what's the purpose? You're not developing any of these guys if they're standing around watching this dude jack up terrible shots in isolation. And it's also not even the right play to win games if that's what you're trying to do. It makes no sense the way they force feed him.
Agreed. I can't say anything different. I'm 100% with you.
And in these review videos, I can't wait to just have a section where it's just Jeremy Grant isolation and terrible shots. And then a section with like really good as a cutter.
But right? The Blazers told me, Tori, that he's really good at shooting contested jump shots.
Why is that your goal, to shoot contested mid-range shots?
I don't know.
They play drop scheme. They play a defensive scheme. It's funny how Chauncey went from like, we're going to be really aggressive defensively and, you know, we're going to trap and this and that when he had Nurk. And now he has Ayton, and he plays almost primarily drop.
I will say one of the good things about this season, though, and are you ready to admit this, but like Deandre Ayton is much better than Dirk.
No.
You're not ready to admit that?
Not much better. No, like Ayton is doing stuff for a tanking team. What was he before this team started tanking? He struggled.
This team sucked all year. Like Nurk sucked when he was on the team too.
Nurk's been good this year for Phoenix, but with Nurk, it's like he does winning things. Okay, he'll box out a guy and let somebody else grab the rebound. Ayton doesn't do that at the same level. He'll set really good screens that gives his guards a bunch of space. Ayton's screens are not good, right?
He's a good screener. I'll give him that.
He'll put the opposing big man in foul trouble occasionally.
He'll get punched in the face by Draymond.
Efficiency-wise, like, Ayton's efficiency, I haven't checked his stat line lately. It's probably better. But, like, efficiency-wise, Ayton was basically on par with last year Nurk.
I want to say, okay, let me put it this way. Deandre Ayton is a much better player for a tanking team because he could take 22 shots and make some of them. Like, if Nurk got 22 shots, he's making, like, 9 of them.
I felt like when Nurk got more shots, he actually shot better, but... You know what's funny? Their 2-point percentage. Nurk last year, of course, he was playing next to Dame. Okay, so some context there. But,
not Scoot Henderson, who had like a minus 56 and a minus 54 this year. No, sorry.
Oh man,
I love Scoot, by the way.
I mean,
I don't want to.
You didn't say anything wrong. I mean, Scoot ain't Dame. You know, I was the one who was saying that before the draft when people were telling me we're going to be a better team because Scoot's going to make his teammates better and play defense.
Even I wouldn't say that.
I know. There was people in our chat that were... It's funny because those people don't show up to our chat anymore. All the people that were like, you need to accept Scoot. He's going to be so much better than Dame. Blah, blah, blah.
Do the Miami Heat fans still showing up?
They showed up when we streamed the Heat. But it's like anybody that trash talks us from the Heat fan base, me and Eric just laugh at. Like, you guys are idiots. If there's anybody covering the Blazers that, like, we never had Heat's fans' interests in mind, but aligned closely with what Heat's fans wanted, it was us, right? Like, we were the guys that want to do right by Dame, didn't want to run him out of town in the first place, but then at that point, okay, do right by Dame. Like, their package isn't as bad as people act like compared to what we got. We were the people saying all that stuff because we believe it. So then Heat fans that come and trash talk us, it's like, what are you? This is just stupid. We are not the people you should be trash talking.
That is true. You guys were Miami Heat fans for a second there.
Not even. If you look at this trade package, Steven, that the Blazers ultimately got, Brogdon, no value. No, because he's been injured. And that might be...
You don't think he has any value?
Dude, he's been out. That might be part of the reason he didn't get traded.
I agree that he was hurt, but don't you think if the Blazers were like competing, he's probably playing?
I mean, maybe.
I don't know.
But,
I have
how
no
does
idea.
it look? He's going to be on the final year of his contract. He's going to be an expiring contract already. Okay. And he's injured.
And that's tradable, though. That's tradable. $25 million is tradable.
It's tradable, but last year, the Clippers only wanted to give up the 30th pick for him, and basically that was it. Right? So now that he has a year less on his contract, he's a year older, he's been dealing with an injury the whole second half of the year, how can you expect back more than the 30th pick?
That's true.
Like, it's rough. So
I mean, I'm on record of saying if they get a first round pick for him, that's a dub. So, you know, what 30 would be the last 100%. Pick of the first round.
Yeah.
So there you go. I got one shot to be right.
Like, logically, I feel like he should have less trade value than he had even last summer, right? And they nixed that trade because they couldn't give him a physical, right? Because he was dealing with some sort of injury. And now he's still... Is it the same injury? I don't know. I don't know if the Blazers can get a single first for him. And it was part of the thing with, like, keeping him. Like, if you can get any first for him, even if it's in this year's draft, you just do it. And you get an expiring contract. They're projected to be like $8 million into the tax this offseason, depending on where their picks are. For a team that is going to lose 60 games to be projected that much into the tax is unheard of. That's absurd. And like the only team that's done that is the Warriors, and that was in between winning championships, right? Their ownership didn't care. And it was because Steph was injured, Clay was injured, etc. So for the Blazers being the tax, ridiculous, right? We're gonna have to have the conversation about like how are they gonna duck that? Because that is a storyline that I feel like isn't getting talked about enough. Because Jody wants to duck it. But Brogdon and Robert Williams at this point, essentially, what trade value do they have? You're only getting back seconds for Robert Williams. He's always injured. I don't expect him to ever be healthy. Malcolm Brogdon, you might only be able to get seconds back for him. Like, that's basically nothing. So you got back a Warriors pick in a draft where, like, supposedly they might have already just resigned themselves to trading that pick. Right? But it's in a draft that's not a great draft. Okay. You got back a 2029 Boston first. They're probably still going to be good. And you got back a 2029 Milwaukee first that's unprotected. That might be good, but who knows? And then you got back a couple swaps. That's really not that much in hindsight.
Yeah. I can't disagree. Like, it's not a bunch, but I don't know that the Heat's package is much better either. Like, I'm one of the biggest Jaime Hawkins fans, but like, what is Jaime Hawkins really? Like, he's a role player at best. Like, is he a starting caliber player on a really good team? I don't even know that. Like, yeah, I guess you could say Nikola Jovic has like a lot of potential, but sure. I mean, I think both packages work great. And I do think, like, don't you think though, Robert Williams, now he's not going to stay healthy, obviously, but like, he can still play on a good team, right? Like, if Portland kept him
still play on a good team because unfortunately he can't play.
But let's just say if Portland was smart about it and they just rested him sometimes, didn't make him play every single game, like, he's a good valuable piece to a team.
I mean, yes, but they didn't even have the opportunity to rest him because he couldn't even make it 10 games. And Boston has done that, and he still gets hurt. So I just don't trust him to ever stay healthy. If he can, great, they got lucky. But like, end of the day. Because we always debated, like, the best package Miami could give up, and we always said, like, and this is where people got confused, it's like, if Miami isn't offering their best package, then you don't take it. But they should be talking with Miami because that could ultimately be the best package. They have to leverage them into giving up the best package. And then you can say, okay, we tried to do right by Dame, but Miami was trying to fleece us, right?
We need a 30 for 30 to come out on that, on the whole Blazers, because nobody knows what the exact truth was. Like, I heard so many things during that. Like, you're so right. Like, what did the Heat offer? Did the Heat offer their best package? Did they even talk to the Blazers? Did the Blazers really just ignore the Heat because they didn't want to do right by Dame? Like, nobody knows anything, and we're all just assuming different things.
The problem that I have is over here, there's a bit of an echo chamber with the media, a lot of whom are reporters, credentialed guys that are close to Joe Cronin. And that was our big problem this whole offseason was like, do you really expect to hear anything other than the Blazers side of things from guys that are friendly with Joe Cronin?
Right.
And that goes into some of the critique of the media, which, listen, as a credentialed reporter that talks to Joe, I understand why let's just report what Joe's telling us. So it's not even necessarily a critique of them. It's just like, that's truly what it is you have multiple sides to this. Who knows what the actual truth is? It's probably somewhere in the middle, right? And a lot of people only heard the Blazers side of things because that's all that was reported. So that was our big problem this past offseason. But we always said, like, Miami has to give up their best package, which was they renegotiate a pick that they owe OKC to open up a third future first that they could trade the Blazers. Then they traded Hero for another first, so that's 4 firsts, plus Jovic, plus Hawkes. Right now, that kind of looks a bit better than what the Blazers got. Mm-hmm. It's debatable. And that was my whole thing, is like, I understand if you don't think that package is that great, but people just wrote it off as like, that's such a horrible package. The Blazers shouldn't even talk to them. It's like, and then the Blazers go out and make the trade they did. And I was like, okay, I don't mind this, but there is some risks. And people were like, how could you say that? See, you just loved Miami. You shouldn't even be a Blazer fan. All this stuff. And it was like, before the season, I was sitting here, Steve, and like, Robert Williams is very injury prone. They should probably try and flip him. Malcolm Brogdon, they should also probably try and flip him because it doesn't make sense to go into the season with 4 guards. Now you're sitting here with both those guys having less value than they probably did before the season. And it's like, yeah, that's probably what they should have did. It was a risk to take them into the season. And end of the day, this trade is going to depend on where the Boston 2029 and Milwaukee 2029 picks end up, and if the Blazers can actually use those 2028 and 2030 Milwaukee swaps, because if Milwaukee sucks, that could be a really good trade. But Miami could have also sucked in 2028, 2029, 2030. I think it's more likely that Milwaukee sucks, so that's where I understand still being happy with this package. But Miami has a lot of, Jimmy's getting up there in age. Like, what are they without Jimmy? They're barely a playoff team again this year. What are they without Jimmy during the regular season? They're probably a lottery team. So, I don't know. It's just interesting to look back at it at this point.
Yeah, and I think there's still a non-zero chance that Dame doesn't request a trade to Miami next season.
I don't think he does.
What? But like, what's going to stop him though? Like, if let's say Milwaukee gets bumped in the first round, they go up against Miami. Miami gets the 7 seed, or Philadelphia gets the 7 seed. They go against Milwaukee and they beat them in 6 games. Dame's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, but you know what Dame wanted? Dame just wanted a chance to contend.
Yes,
that's all he wanted was a chance to contend. I feel like he has. I feel like he feels like he has that chance to contend right now.
That's what he has said publicly. That's what he said publicly. He also just wanted to go to Miami too. Remember when during the whole trade thing, it was like, I just want to go to Miami.
Yeah, I mean, how much of that is him feeling a certain type of way about how things played out, so saying, screw it, I'm only going here. He did open up his options. I don't see him running from Giannis like that, because he and Giannis are close, and I don't see him running from a situation where he has a chance to contend. He ran from the Blazers because holy hell, we're a mess.
The Doc Rivers hire was just terrible. Like, they obviously have to get rid of him and get a good coach in next season, but
I mean, that's the thing is if they don't make it out of the first round, he's probably getting canned, and maybe who knows who they would bring in at that point. But the coaching has been a bit of a disaster. The bench is atrocious.
That's what I'm hoping, though. I'm hoping the Bucks flame out. Dame wants a trade out of to Miami. Giannis gets mad, and then the Bucks are terrible. And then the Blazers get those picks.
The thing is I don't think it takes all that, because it's 2028. That's what, 4 years from now? I mean, Dame's going to be up there in age. They don't have any assets. Yeah, but if they have Giannis,
though, if they have Giannis, dude, they're still going to be good.
They're 1-7 without Dame this year.
Well, he's a good player. I've never denied that.
the thing is no Dame. I don't think they're a playoff team.
Really? You don't?
I mean, they're 1-7 without him. I don't know how many of those games Giannis didn't play, but like Middleton is very injury prone, and he's declining. Okay.
Yeah.
Dame, you subtract Dame from that. Who does Giannis have? Brooke Lopez, Malik Beasley, Pat Beverly.
Speaking of Brooke Lopez, go back to Zach Edey. Zach Edey is Brooke Lopez when he played for the New Jersey Nets.
Dude, what if Zach... Brooke Lopez was a bad defender in Brooklyn and then became like a elite drop defender, right?
But that's what I'm saying. And
learned how to shoot. Zach Edey can at least has touch. Maybe he can learn how to shoot. Maybe he's supersized Brooke Lopez.
I'm not even saying Brooklyn Brooke Lopez. I'm saying New Jersey Brooke Lopez. When all he did was post up, he barely rebounded. He barely did anything. All right, Tori, can we do this? Can we do my Anthony Simons comp? I've been waiting all day.
Chat. We got 134 people in chat. Guess what Steven's Anthony Simons comp that he's in love with is?
I saw one was Jordan Clarkson.
See, we've talked about him and Jordan Clarkson and debated that, so I knew it wasn't Jordan Clarkson. Brandon Jennings is
Dude,
wild.
Brandon Jennings, current player. He's a current NBA player.
Bouquet swears you're going to say Jordan Clarkson. I don't think he's going to say Jordan Clarkson.
It's not.
Not Jordan Poole. Well,
definitely not Jordan Poole.
I hope not. Dame.
Yes, Dame. He's the next Damian Lillard. I finally give it in.
My guess. Let me see.
I like his guess. Jalen Green. He's been pretty good lately.
Yeah. Jalen Green's shot selection is terrible, though.
Terrible. It's improved a little bit, though.
Who is Ant?
Their per 40 numbers are very comparable.
Huh.
Or per 36. Malik
You want to give
Monk,
out your other hint?
He's in the Eastern Conference.
You gave me another hint before this.
He was traded this year.
I know who you're gonna say. No way. No way. I disagree with who I think it's going to be. There's no way that's your comp. You wouldn't like your comp that much if it was this guy.
The per 36 is pretty identical.
Okay, let me confirm this. But
text me what it is. Text me what you think.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I could just look up this guy's per 36 and know, but
Spud Webb. Yes, dude. If he was Spud Webb, that'd be so sick. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
No. How? Numbers okay, but like size, athleticism, style of play. I don't see it. Let's see if Aeromancer got it. Bouquet says, if he says Rozier, I will lose my mind.
Terry Rozier, in his whole entire career in Charlotte, Anthony Simons' last 2 years, per 36, 22.5, 4.5 assists, 3 rebounds. Terry Rozier, 21 points, 4.9 assists, 4.5 rebounds.
Is your comp like numbers based, or is it like the way they play?
Literally 1 point less. 3-pointers. I know you're going to be like, oh, shooter, Anthony Simons, 3.5 threes per game per 36. Terry Rozier, 3 3-pointers per game per 36. Anthony Simons, 38%. Terry Rozier, 37.2%. Free throw line, Anthony Simons just a little bit better. Shooting percentage overall, 44 to 43.6%.
Numbers-wise, they're very similar, but...
A tanking team, a bad team. Charlotte was a terrible team. Terry Rozier got the ball a lot, put up good numbers. Now, Terry Rozier's on a really good team. Well, a good team in Miami. He's putting up solid numbers. He's a good player. Just like I think Anthony Simons could be a very good player on a good team. But, you can't build around that guy. If he's going to be one of your top guys, you're not going to be a very good team. Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier has been... I didn't look at that. I just looked at per 36.
Yeah.
But
last year, true shooting percentage, Terry Rozier, which I think is the best measure for efficiency, right? 51.7%. This year, he's up to 55.5%. Ant, I think, takes some of the toughest shots in the league this year because he has to.
But
Ant's true shooting percentage the last 2 years, last year was 58.1. This year, it's 56.8. He's more efficient on tougher shots.
Didn't you watch Terry Rozier when he was in Charlotte? He didn't take easy shots either. Like, he was the guy.
Yeah, no,
with
easier
Charlotte.
shots this year in Miami. But in Charlotte, he was more inefficient than Simons. Like, last year, true shooting percentage 52,
and so that's what I'm saying.
Essentially.
I'm not saying Rozier's better. Anthony Simons is better than Terry Rozier. I am not saying that. I'm not saying that it is exactly comparable. What I'm saying is when you have a Terry Rozier on a bad team, a tanking team, and then you put him on a good team like Miami, he could be a solid role player. He can be a good player on that team. And I think that's the same thing with Anthony Simons. Like, that's my whole point with Anthony Simons. He's a good player, but let's pump the brakes on we're building around Anthony Simons, or like he's the go-to guy, because he's not. He's a guy that you trade to Orlando because they need a shooter. He's a guy who you trade to a team and they get him and they're like, this is the missing piece. It's not the guy like we're building around this guy.
Here's where I disagree with you. Simons this year is averaging more points per game than Rozier ever has any year of his career. Okay. It comes down to Ant is bigger. Ant is more athletic. Ant is more of a slashing threat.
Terry Rozier averaged 23 a game and 6 assists for Charlotte in 30 games.
Yeah, this year he's averaging 19.8, small sample size. He always starts seasons hot, right? So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, they're both not point guards. They're both guys that can score, that play for bad teams. Like, someone has to put up stats. And I think if Terry Rozier is going to be fine with Charlotte, with Miami in the playoffs, like, he's a great piece with Miami, just like Anthony Simons would be. Anthony Simons would be an upgrade over Terry Rozier in Miami. Like, he would be perfect with Miami. But like, he's not a number one guy.
I understand your argument. Numbers wise, I think you can make a case they're similar. I think there is the shot diet here. Like,
the free throw attempts are very similar as well. Ant was 3.1, Terry Rozier 2.6 makes per game, per 36. And this is Simon's last two seasons where he's been, quote unquote, like the number one option.
I mean, Simons can play more of a 2-guard spot than I think Rozier can. I think Simons is a little better playing off the ball. Rozier has gone to Miami, and he does play off the ball more, and he has not been efficient.
Simons is better. Simons is better, no doubt. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah. Numbers-wise, I think they're comparable. I think the comparison loses me because I think they just play differently, even though they have some stats that are very similar. I think Ant, if Ant got put on Miami, I think Ant's averaging 20 a game. And I think he's doing it efficiently because he's getting easier shots than he's had to shoot.
Yeah, and I think he's definitely averaging more than Rozier, and he's more of a threat than Rozier. I think that Ant is just, we overrate Ant because of what he can do sometimes. You talk about the YouTube highlights, like he'll have some sick step back threes, he'll have some sick dunks on people, but he doesn't do that consistently. I think his playmaking and his playmaking for himself is a little overrated still. Like, it can get better, sure, but I don't know. I just don't see an Ant as like the guy you build around. And so that's my whole point, is I think if he goes to a team like Orlando, who's really good, but missing a shooter, that's what he would be perfect at.
Here's my question though. Build around, you mean as like a number one?
Yeah. Even a number two.
I think he has a chance to be a number two on a contending team. Honestly, I don't even disagree with you that much. I don't think he's the number one. You definitely don't build around him as a number one. I've been saying it for a long time. Like, the Blazers need to find their next superstar. And maybe that could be Scoot. Maybe that could be Sharp. I don't even say maybe that could be Simons, because Simons, I think, at this point projects as a 2 or a 3 on a good team. I do think he has a chance to be a number 2. I think he's gotten better every year. I think what he's done this year is impressive, considering I don't feel like he's gotten a tanking team bump because the offense is so garbage around him. And he's dealing with coverage that is just asinine for him to deal with. Like, you look at metrics that quantify, like, on-ball gravity, and he's top 5 with stars. right, this year. And I think part of that is he's a legitimate offensive talent, and then part of that is he doesn't have much around him, so defenses are going to pay more attention to him. So the fact that he's still been able to put together a season where in 34 minutes a game, 22.6 points, 5.5 assists, 38.5% from three. He has to shoot some tough-ass threes. And he has to shoot like threes at the end of the shot clock too much. I think this year he's been impressive. I could see him being the number 2 guy on a championship team. It's like if Jamal Murray can be a number 2 guy on a championship team, I feel like Anthony Simons can. It would just take, you need a guy like Jokic, or you need a true stud. So I don't even disagree with you on that front. Like, you can build with him as a piece, as a really good piece, but he's not like the franchise number 1 guy.
See, I don't even think he's like a building piece. I think he's like the missing piece, right? Like, I would consider like Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's a building piece in Denver. Like, I think once they got him, like, they built with him, Jamal Murray, and Jokic.
If anything, Aaron Gordon was a missing piece because they added him last.
I understand that, but like, now they're built around him. Like, that's their entire offense is Aaron Gordon being athletic and running the baseline and getting dunks. Like, that's what they built their offense around. Right, but they built around him and Murray. I think with Simons, it's more like kind of like with the Heat when they get Rozier. He's the missing piece where he's a guy that can handle the ball and can score. They're building around Bam. They're building around Jimmy. You could even say they're building around Tyler Hero more than Anthony Simons or Terry Rozier. But like, I just feel like he's the missing piece.
Yeah, I just don't think it quantifies directly to Terry Rozier because, as you said, he's better. Like, I think Ant in Miami would maybe be the number 2 option offensively. Instead
over
of
Bam.
I mean, Bam gets 19.6. A lot of Bam's stuff comes in the flow, though. He's not a guy like you give the ball to him, he makes something happen a ton. Like, he can face up, shoot that little mid-range pull-up, pass a bit.
He's a pick and pop dude.
Yeah, as a big man, it's a lot like in the flow. Footer. So, like, he'd get a lot of his offense playing off of Anthony Simons. So, at the end of the day, like, who's the 2, who's the 3? It's not so simple. I think at the end of the day, too, in terms of like missing piece, it's like, okay, if this team is eventually going to contend, right, why not make it so you don't have that missing piece?
I just don't know. Well, in Portland, he's not the missing piece because Portland's not even close.
Yeah,
like, I think
but he is young enough where, like, ultimately, if you trade him now, there is a chance that the Blazers are borderline contenders in 3 and 4 years and need a guy like him.
Yes, but where would that be? Like, so you're choosing him over Scoot or Sharp. The Sharp, Scoot, Ant lineup's not going to work.
I am not comfortable.
We haven't
Here's
seen
the thing,
it.
though.
We haven't seen it, but we know it's not going to work.
I am not comfortable deciding that now. Also, I think if you got Alex Sarr and maybe a little better defender than Ayton, it could. Because, like, the Cavs, I mean, they, as I said, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, they've been starting Max Strus, like, at the 3. Right, and I've never liked him defensively. He's not any taller, bigger than Shaedon Sharp. Certainly doesn't have the vertical athleticism that Sharp does, right? But they're still a really good defense because they got Mobley and Allen, and just allows those guys to like overplay on the perimeter and funnel them to those bigs, right? They also got a good they also got a good third big in Dean Wade, who legitimately underrated defensively, like one of the best defensive bigs in the league. He's legit. So, you know, it just takes the right roster construction. But let's say it's not going to work. I'm not comfortable making that decision now because the other Sharp and Scoot haven't proven to be building pieces yet either.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're going to like if Sharp was healthy all year and averaged like 23 a game and looked like a star, right? It was like a borderline all-star selection.
Yeah.
And then Scoot looked a little better. Like, okay, then maybe we have the conversation about moving on from Ant. But until those guys really take off, it's like Ant's the best guard. He might always be the best guard because you never know how much young guys are going to pan out. So that's just where it's like you got time to figure it out. Like, I am not on board the Anthony Simons trade. If they could get the right player for him, sure. Like, if they could get I would trade Simons for Franz. The thing is, though, is teams like that don't trade forwards like that. It's harder to get a forward like that than a guard.
But Orlando's the perfect team. I keep bringing up Orlando, but like they're the perfect team because they have a guy like Paolo who can handle the ball and kind of be that point forward. So Simons doesn't have to be the full-time point guard. Like he can pick and choose his spots of being that guy because he's not a point guard.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah, because he can be like a hybrid point and Paolo can take some of the responsibility off of him. But
and then
why don't they just keep Franz and get a guy that's like close to Simons and have both?
Because they got your boy Jalen Suggs, they got Jonathan Isaac and Fultz. Like they got so many good athletes. They just need like a shooter, and Franz can't shoot this year.
Yeah, but I just think it's far more likely for them to try and address that without trading Franz. Because think of if we're Magic fans, like we love Franz, right? Because every team loves.
Yeah, but who are you gonna get? Like Malik Beasley, like guys like that's who you're gonna get if you're gonna sign somebody. You're not gonna get anybody good like Anthony Simons. Like Simons is.
You know what's funny is we flipped sides of the argument here a little bit.
I think Anthony Simons is a good player. I'm not saying he's not. I've never said he's not. I feel like he's like we overrate him here in Portland just because we love our players, which is great. Like that's what makes Portland great.
I think it is more likely for them to just be like, look, we got the 22nd pick in the draft or wherever they're going to be drafted and trade it for Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah. Trade up and draft Dalton Connect.
Dude, I love Dalton Connect, man. That dude.
I wish we were Magic. We should be Magic fans, dude. They have a sick team.
Dude, I love their team. I wanted them to draft Chet so Chet and Suggs could play together so bad.
Oh, God.
Like
you and Gonzaga.
Dude.
Just pick up Timmy on the two-way.
Hell
Jonathan
yeah,
Williams.
man. Go get
Jonathan
Rui.
Williams still out there?
They had Rui and Kispert.
Williams Goss.
Yeah, they had Rui and Kispert in Washington, and then they traded Rui to the Lakers, which...
Trade for Zach Collins.
Yeah, Zach Collins. Zach Collins, Chet, and Suggs, dude. I would become a bit of
You
a
would be a
Magic
fan, dude.
Bro, hell yeah. Like, I might root for them more than the Bucks. Oh, that would be tugging on my heartstrings there, but bro, Gonzaga's gonna be good next year. Side note.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't like just fully crush me on my Terry Rozier comp. Like you didn't like it, but you didn't absolutely hate it.
Here, like numbers wise, it's comparable. You know, I can't argue that the numbers are what the numbers are.
Tanking team, bad team, good player, puts up good numbers.
Chat. Okay, here I want to challenge chat. So, chat, if you don't like Steven's comparison, what is a better comparison for Ant? What's the best comparison you in chat can come up with for Ant? I'm curious to see what chat comes up with. I love.
It's just tough. It's like I don't know. He's an interesting player. Like very polarizing.
I think it would be tough to come up with like a noticeably better comparison that like pans out statistically and is closer to his style of play. I don't like Jalen Green as a comparison for him though.
You've mentioned to me, Bradley Beal.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, Bradley Beal in terms of like
how he can score.
He was a shooter coming into the league. The thing is Beal got a lot stronger. Like Ant would need to become noticeably stronger. Ant also has that like lower release on his shot. I don't know if he could shoot that like body bump mid-range pull-up the same way that Beal can.
Delano Banton. That's good. That's a good comp, I think. Great call.
Banton. Do you believe in him after this stretch, or what's your take on him?
Do I believe in him? What? Like
to be a rotation piece.
The 11th man on the Sure. Since the Blazers aren't going to be good, they're still going to figure out if the 3-guard lineup with Sharp, Scoot, and Simons are going to work. Yeah, might as well keep Banton.
Throw in
as a role player
guard to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, then that's fine. But like, no, like if you're trying to compete, do I think Banton's a role player? No, I don't.
He's interesting because
he's fine. Tori, there's
played
so
well
many
with the
guys.
full green light, but he's not going to have a full green light on a contending team. He's going to have to play more off the ball. He's not going to be able to take 20 shots to find his rhythm.
Scottie Pippen Jr. was putting up like 16 and 7 a night. Skylar Mays put up numbers. Like dudes are going to put up numbers.
I mean, he looks good in terms of he's 6'8", 6'9", can handle, can drive, a little crafty. And has knocked down threes.
He can play in the NBA, right? Like I think that's what he's proven is he can be on an NBA roster. Right, like that was a question before when they got him. Like, does he even belong in the NBA? Is he belong on an NBA roster? Like, yes, he does.
Yeah. I don't know. I just saw a couple comparisons in chat and completely forgot what you were talking about. Garland.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is Garland really that much better of a comp than Rozier though? Like Garland statistically is very close to Rozier this year, actually.
It's hard because Ant's not like a true like two guard, but he's not a point at all. Like I don't see him as a point guard.
Garland is more of a point, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's looked good as
he
a
got
point.
Better. He did. He had that stretch. Better. He had that stretch before he got hurt or whatever, while he's out for the season, before they really tanked, where he was putting up good assist numbers, and you were texting me like, "Oh, Ant, look at his numbers. He's the best." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get it. Like he's had a couple good runs. Like he got better. So maybe he gets better, becomes a point guard. We'll see."
And then Jalen Brunson. Sorry, Colonel Pancakes, but no way.
Man, I wish he was Jalen Brunson.
No.
Who saw that coming? Nobody saw that coming though.
No, I didn't think he'd be this good. 28-7. He's averaging 28-7 on 48% from the field and 40% from three. And also style of play is, like, he uses his body so much and is so crafty with his footwork. Like, they don't play alike.
He's got that dog in him. He's a dog.
Ant is basically a worse Duop Reith.
I don't disagree. No,
yeah, just shooters. That's all they do.
Yeah.
No impact on the interior defensively. Jalen Green's comp is Ant, not the other way around. Interesting.
Like I wish that Anthony Simon's rich man's Tyrese Maxey, right? I hope best case scenario Ant becomes Tyrese Maxey. He's not going to happen because Tyrese Maxey is awesome, but like that's the pathway, right?
Yeah.
It's Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Or Zach LaVine, that's a good one too.
Maxey took off. Zach LaVine.
I
feel like Ant is more unselfish offensively than Zach LaVine, though.
True, but Zach LaVine also is a little bit bigger and makes the game look so much easier.
This year, Zach LaVine was nowhere close to as good as Ant, though.
I like Zach LaVine, though, because he took a picture with my kid and signed an autograph for him. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's what Ant has to do. We'll set it up.
Yeah. He actually got a picture signed by Anthony Simons.
That's pretty sick.
He's fine.
That's pretty sick. This dude doesn't like your opinion on Banton. Banton is definitely better than an average role player. According to what? His play for a tanking team over 2 months? Like, he hasn't been able to.
He got half that right, though. I am coked out, but Banton as better than average role player, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, like, I feel like if Skylar Mays got more of a shot, he tore it up, right? Banton is intriguing because he's tall, can handle, can pass a little bit. And the biggest thing with him was he needed to shoot the ball well so he could be an off-ball player. The problem is like, as a role player, what is his role? Because he has to be able to play off the ball. He's not going to be a role player that takes 20 shots a game to find his rhythm like he's been able to do in Portland. Is he able to still shoot from 35% from three when he's taking less shots and doesn't have that same opportunity and ultimate green light to build a rhythm in the course of a game? I'm not sure. And that's where he hasn't been playing as a role player in Portland. So I feel like we can't just take what he's done in Portland and say, yep, that is an above average role player, because he's been dominating the ball like a star at times, which has had some good results, but it's different going from that to actually playing a role as like a 7th, 8th man on a good team. And
but
that's
I will
where
say,
I have my question marks. You can't just say he's above average in that regard because he's never proven it.
Right. But I will say with the way he's played, Tori, like, I'm willing to give him a chance next season. Like, to see if he can fill that role. Where before they made that trade at the trade deadline, I'm like, no, like, I wouldn't give him a chance. But now that the way he's played, I'll give him that chance. Going into next season, sure. Like, have him be the backup guard that can handle the ball coming into the game.
The problem is they actually have a logjam at the wing spots.
Weird. The Blazers have a logjam of guards. Didn't know that was ever going to happen.
Wings, too, because you think about it, right? So you got point guard, shooting guard, small forward, right? Normally you're going to play 5 players at those positions. in total, right? Normally you have a guy that plays shooting guard and small forward, maybe somebody that plays point and shooting guard, right? So next year you have Scoot, Simons, Sharp, just as it stands. Scoot, Simons, Sharp at your guard spots. And maybe Sharp slides up to the 3, plays a little bit of 3. But you got Kamara there, and I freaking love Kamara, man. Went through all his plays recently. Like, that dude, honestly, at this point, should be the starting 3 next year. And then you got Banton off the bench at the 3 spot. Notice who I did not name. Matisse Thybulle. Okay? Also, if they draft anyone that can play a wing spot, also, if you have, like, Robert Williams backing up Ayton, they like to play Robert Williams a little bit at the 4. Like, is Grant going to play any 3? Basically, at the end of the day, why the hell did they match Thybulle's contract?
So what you're saying is the Blazers are going to be too good next season. They have too many good players.
They have, you know what they have? They have role players now.
They have, like, 8 role players.
Yeah. They have, like, some borderline rotation role players and, like, Jabari Walker, right? But, like, they got some guys that look like they could be legitimate role players.
Well, you also didn't mention Jabari Walker, like, or Chris Murray. I mean, not Chris Murray. They're at the 4. I'm joking around with that, but Jabari Walker, like,
if Grant
where's he fit in?
Yeah, because if Grant doesn't slide down and play some 3, they're gonna play him 35 minutes a game, and you got your 2 centers. Maybe they might even draft another center. The thing is like, how does 2 draft picks factor into the rotation? They got too many mediocre role players.
Which is Tori. This is why I kind of think you need to make a decision of what you're gonna quote unquote build around, right? Whether that is Simons and Scoot or Simons and Sharp or Scoot and Sharp, like, go with it and build around. Like, make something your foundation and then go with it. If it's Anthony Simons, that's awesome. Then you can build around that. You can build your team around it. But, like, it's so unknown right now, and you're right with the logjam. Like, there's too many role players that just don't fit with these other guys, so we're never going to figure out what works. Like, you may make the wrong decision, and it may look bad. Like, they trade Anthony Simons. He turns out to be the next Tyrese Maxey. Well, Blazers made the wrong choice, obviously. But at the same time, like, if you just keep rolling it back with what they got, just figure it out, then they're never going to figure it out.
I mean, I don't like just deciding to trade Ant because of Delano Ban, though. Like, you got too many role players as is. Ant is at least better than just your typical role player. I feel like, if anything, that might be going backwards. Which, if they suck next year, it could be a good thing because next year's draft.
Would you think about trading Shaedon Sharpe and build around Scoot and Simons?
Because I don't think Sharpe has enough value in the trade market to surpass his value to the team if he can become what the team hopes he becomes.
Yeah.
It's just it's in a way it's selling low. And they need upside. Yeah. So you're probably not going to find this. Yeah, you're probably not going to find the same upside because ultimately you're going to need a guy to become the guy, right? And that's what this whole offseason should be, is like, how can we give ourselves chances at getting players that have a ton of upside that if they can pan out, they could maybe be a top 15 to 20 player. And Shaedon Sharpe is the one guy on the roster I feel comfortable saying he has a chance to become a top 15 to 20 player.
Like, I know we all hate Joe Cronin. Like, he's not my favorite GM either, but, like, his job that he has this offseason is gonna be tough and gonna be interesting. Like, we're gonna crush him no matter what, right?
Part of it, but yeah. Well, part of it is
his own fault. I know part of it is his own fault, but, like, he has a lot of tough decisions to make this offseason.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: when they traded for Thybulle, didn't like it. They trade 2 seconds, whatever, though, right? Oh, this is our move to get a defender for Dame. Matisse Thybulle, you gotta be kidding me.
He's an all-league defender.
Yeah. We're going into super duper win now mode. So do you remember when Dallas gave him that offer sheet?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember that I didn't want them to match it, and I got flamed for it?
Yeah, you jerk.
As much as anything last offseason, people were acting like I was just an idiot for not wanting to match Matisse Thybulle. But it was foresight, Steven. It was foresight, because where are they now? He is the 6th best perimeter player on the team.
6th, man. That's not good.
They got, and like 4 of the guys are younger. All 5, actually. Because it's Scoot, Sharp, Simons at the guard spots. You got Kamara at the 3, and you got freaking Banton at the 3. And you could potentially draft I don't know, a Dalton Connect, because this team could use shooting, right? You got all of these players. Matisse Thybulle is not better than a single one, but you're paying him $11 million a year, and because of that, you're $8 million into the luxury tax right now going into the offseason. I bet you at this point, if they could dump Matisse Thybulle for nothing to duck the tax, I bet you they'd do it. And that's part of the thing with Cronin. It's like, why'd you match up? Why'd you trade for him in the first place? It just shows a lack of foresight. Like, you're trading for this dude, even though you're about to enter a rebuild, and then you're matching this offer sheet, which is an overpayment. He's not that good. And now you're projected to be in the tax because you didn't balance your books right. You didn't handle that well. And it's like, now you got multiple guys. He should not be in the rotation next year with the guys they have on this team. So it's just a lack of foresight that is very frustrating.
Toumani Camara is what we all hoped Matisse Thybulle would be, only bigger.
Yeah. Toumani's a better defender than him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we were sold, like, Matisse Thybulle is an all-league defender. He's awesome. This is what the Blazers need. And then he's not a great on-ball defender. Like, we all realized that from day one. No, this guy can't go out on ball. The Sixers didn't want him because he couldn't play. Like, he's not good on offense, not good on defense. They didn't want to play with him and have a role, so they traded him. Toumani Camara is bigger and actually plays defense. And at the end, before he got hurt, started making some jump shots. Like, that's exactly what we were sold was Matisse Thybulle, but no. Toumani Camara is actually that guy.
Matisse Thybulle's review video, it's going to feel like picking on him, but I'm legitimately going to try and show people why he's overrated defensively, because people just look at steals and blocks. And
but do you think that the fact, like, how Cronin traded for Matisse Thybulle and then says, you know, he's an all-league defender, don't you think there's some other terrible GM that can sell that to the fan base too? Like, oh, look, we got Matisse Thybulle. Like, that could happen.
Maybe, but it's like the worst GMs are the ones that just don't watch film and don't actually pay attention to, like, the film of a player, or don't have their front offices do that, and then sit here and say, we're going to trade for him because he made an all-defensive team. There's no thought put into that.
I think there could be a team that'd be like, yeah, you know what? We could sell this.
We got to ban someone in chat. The dude said,
why do you ban that guy?
Because he's promoting a competitor. We can't stand for that.
You're running from the haters, bro.
No, I'm not running from the haters. Just don't be an asshole in my chat. You can talk about basketball. See, here's the thing. This dude said, you're high if you think that Matisse is not a good-ass defender and has value. And then he starts plugging this other podcast and says, those guys are actually around the team. I mean, cool. Congrats. We're all watching the same basketball, though. And here's the problem. People like that come in our chat. They never want to actually talk about basketball.
I can throw out terms and basketball terms just like one of their hosts does and act like I'm really smart too.
Big words and
words and different types of screens.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, man. Like,
I can throw those words out too if you really want me to.
See, people like this hate it, but like,
and my mic broke.
Your mic broke? You broke your mic?
I just ripped it off.
Oh, that's tragic. Holding it. Okay, now you look real official.
Thank you.
See, if Reddit didn't hate it, I'd say, wouldn't you want to listen to two people that have actually played basketball before? Well, you only averaged 2.2 in college, Tori. You sucked.
Here's the thing: you don't have to have watched. You don't have to have played basketball. You don't have to have had to. You don't have to have had work with the Blazers. Like, how many other people in the media have worked for the Blazers? I did. I literally worked for the Blazers. I showed you my badge. Like, that doesn't mean I know anything. Like, exactly. Like, anybody could learn basketball. It is just watching it over and over. Like, I feel like it's just so dumb that people think it's so easy. Like, oh, just because I played, you didn't, or I watched you. Like, no, like, we all have opinions on it, and no one's ever right. Even the GMs are not 100% right. All the coaches aren't 100% right. Like, it's wild.
I would tell my community, right, if they did this, they don't. But just because I played or you played doesn't mean anything. You guys can all watch and learn the game, right? If anything, it just made it easier to learn stuff that people in our chat who've never played can learn. But that's why I hate when the conversation becomes about, like, people with podcasts, like, do they work for the team or not? If they work for the team, they're automatically smarter about basketball. No, that's not the case. They just report on stuff and have credentials. This is literally it, okay?
Yeah.
So they may know more about, little happenings inside the team, but also there is going to be an element where they are super close with the GM, so they're going to report on his side of things, and it's all going to be, everything is great, right? Matisse Thybulle's a great defender, right? That's what they're going to tell you. But legitimately, if you pay attention to the way Matisse Thybulle plays defense, he makes a ton of mistakes that other good-ass defenders don't make because he chases steals and chases blocks. And that's why people think he's a good defender. That's why he made an all-defensive team, because he got good steal and block numbers. And people that vote on those awards, that's what they pay attention to. He also had Joel Embiid backing him up, cleaning up a lot of his mistakes. If you watch him, he gets back cut as much as anybody else on this team. He's playing on a team with a bunch of rookies and second-year players. There's no reason he should get back cut more or as much as anyone else on this team. Okay? His closeouts are terrible. He gets lost off the ball. He ball watches because he wants to steal that thing, and he stops paying attention to who he's actually guarding. That's how he plays defense. And sure, like, he'll get deflections and come up with some plays, but here's the thing. You're always going to notice a steal more so than you're going to notice a guy being out of position defensively or a guy making certain defensive mistakes. Because the steal, this dude deflects a pass, grabs it, passes it down the court on offense on a fast break. That is very noticeable if you just watch the ball. The problem is a lot of people just watch the ball. So after the season, this is why I can't wait for these review videos. I'm going to break down. I'm going to show legitimate examples, as much as I can, of the problems that I have with Matisse Thybulle. Because I have nothing against Matisse Thybulle. I'm a Washington Husky fan. He went to Washington. He's a YouTuber. He does cool YouTube videos. Seems like a really well-mannered guy, a good guy. I have nothing against him. But
are you a Washington basketball fan?
Not as much as football. I'm a Gonzaga basketball fan, Washington football
I was going to say, you're a Gonzaga basketball fan.
But like if Washington's in the tournament, I'm rooting for them. But if they play Gonzaga, I'm rooting for Gonzaga.
All right, I feel
yeah. But like at the end of the day, it's like it's not like I'm picking on them, right? But I'm going to talk about what I see. And I will provide examples after the season. It's just frustrating when all that gets discounted because he's a good defender. Go watch people with credentials. Okay, bro. You can't even have a conversation with that. It's just silly. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to chat when we get.
No, dude, I agree. It's I was just joking around and said you had to block that guy. Haters. But here's the thing, though.
There's been times, Steven, I've tried to talk to people like that, and it just never goes well. It's easier just to be like, okay, you're one of those guys, fine.
Yeah. See, you're professional. You're a professional YouTuber. Those guys, though, they do serve a purpose. I will say, like, there is a purpose to have guys that talk to the general managers and the coaches and stuff. There is a purpose for them, but again, you can't take everyone seriously on anything. Like if we learned anything, everyone's gonna lie. Everyone's gonna just say what they want to say to the media to get their message out there, and then you gotta figure it out.
Yeah. So it gets tiresome. Anyway, I'm glad I got to rant today. It's been a minute since I've actually ranted about something.
Dog, we said we were going to go for like an hour. It's been like 8 hours, bro.
See? Isn't it easy to go for 2 hours?
Jeez.
This is why we go for 2 hours. It's not even like we planned to go for 2 hours. We just go for 2 hours.
Did we even talk about the Blazers? The Blazers suck. Just think if the Blazers were good. Like, you'd actually have something to talk about.
It'd be phenomenal. We'd be doing podcasts every week right now if the Blazers were good. But
that's true.
Unfortunately.
They're not good.
Yeah. We do a tankathon simulation every post-game show. And I guess we can see if you're good luck or bad luck. So with that being said, let me bring up the good old tankathon, and we'll do a tankathon sim.
I mean, what a website.
Tankathon? It's a phenomenal site. I love tankathon.
I mean, what a site.
There's just something about like sitting here simulating until you just get an absurd lottery where like the Warriors are first and the Bulls are second and the Blazers are eighth.
But, and then the Warriors draft James Wiseman.
Yeah. Hey, the Blazers are only a game behind San Antonio. So they could tie for fourth best odds.
And Wemby keeps playing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with him, do you even really have to tank? Dude, I think Sar with him would be scary.
Yeah, you definitely need to tank. Think about that. Yeah, Sar and Wemby together. They should be losing every game.
They want to do though. The thing is, they need a point guard.
Klingon and Wemby.
You know who I would love for them? Dillingham.
Yeah.
I love Dillingham. And those pick and rolls would be deadly. Like, I think he has as much upside as anyone in this draft other than Sarr.
Oh, yeah, like that Spurs versus Detroit. Yeah. What a game.
Let's go, man. That's what I'm going to be rooting for. Blazers better not win again this season. The win against Charlotte was so sad for me.
So predictable, too. I bet on that game. Like, you could see that coming from a mile away. They had been competitive a couple times. Dude.
You talked about me criticizing media, earlier in the stream. One of the things that I couldn't stand was the whole Blazers are locked into 5th best odds in February tweet by one of the media guys.
Yeah, but aren't they 5th? They're 5th though, right?
They were locked into 5th with 30 games left in the season.
Was he wrong? He's not wrong.
God, I hate that. Just because it ended up happening doesn't mean he was right. If Brandon Miller makes a runner, we're tied for 3rd, bro. One single shot from Brandon Miller, but no, he had to suck against us, and Scoot had to outplay him the one game we needed him not to.
That tweet triggered you so bad.
It's just so dumb. Like this is why. Like, what are you saying?
It was so early to say it, dude. Like, there's 30 games left. Of course they could lose every game.
And like, see, all the jabs that I give about that tweet, none of them are like actually personal. The tweet was just bad. So I joke about it, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that's just so silly to say. 30 games left in the season. Like, we're, 2 games out of 4th at that point. How in any way, shape, or form are we locked into 5th?
How dare you trash the media? And I'm part of the media.
Oh, man, you're a good part of the media. You would never tweet something like that. If you tweeted something like that, I would have to trash you too. I'm sorry.
I did tweet once, and I got told to not tweet like that. Don't be a jerk. They said, don't go to that level. I said, okay.
That level. I mean, you didn't tweet that they were locked into, you would.
No, I would never.
You're reasonable. That. You're reasonable. I just think there's a point sometimes where we just lose any sort of logic.
That's like the nicest thing you've ever said about me, that I'm reasonable.
For a media member.
A lot of people in your fan base say a lot of things about me, but reasonable, whew, that's about good. I'll take it.
My fan base, they love
love
to give you heat.
You're cold. You're cold.
My cold, yeah. They love to give you heat. It's fun. It's fun. But I feel like there's people that will like hate what you say about Simons, but then if I have you on, they'll want to watch the whole thing because they're waiting to hear what you say.
And you know what? And this is my whole thing with sports, but especially like teams you root for. We're all trying to get to the same spot. We're all trying to get to make it to the Blazers to be a championship team. Like, it's going to be a different direction. We all got different thoughts.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all trying to get to the same spot. So it's all good, man. I'm not trying to get mad. Like you asked earlier, like what's going to piss me off? Nothing really makes me that mad when it comes to the Blazers. I'm not going to get that mad about it.
You're so chill.
Unless I bet on them and they win or something. Bet against them.
Well, yeah. I need you to be mad at this team like me. Although I don't know if that's something I should recommend because it is a little unhealthy. But I turned it into something, so it's all good.
I'm brainwashed by a guy who averages 0.3 points a game at JUCO. I don't know if that's a serious, like, if he's really hates you or not, but that's pretty funny. That's a good one right there.
Don't sell me short, Dro. Don't sell me. So there's another thing. If they say my scoring average in college, it's an automatic 5-minute ban from chat.
Dro, 5 out. You're out for 5.
So every time we bring that up, there's just people that start spamming that number and they get timed out from chat. That's another running joke that we have here because, I don't want that number being public is the joke, basically. But 0.3 is even worse. Come on, man.
I don't know what's agree with Steven, but he's reasonable. Thank you. I like that. That's what I'm saying.
See, that's the thing. You are polite with your disagreements, and I hope that my community is polite back. You can talk ball. It's fun to debate with people that don't take it to a personal level and actually know what they're talking about. Because there's a bunch of different ways to look at things. So that's how...
0.3.
That's not the number.
Dude, I just love a funny insult. We were talking about that before, like when we were coming on. Just like, I love a funny insult. Like people doing bits and like funny things. Like, it's just funny. Just
I
funny
know.
stuff.
We got so many little inside jokes. It's fun doing this for 5 years. Like, OG Anunoby is OJ Ananoon Boy because Eric accidentally said it like that one time. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but so now every time Eric says his name, it's always Ananoon Boy.
How mad are Knicks fans going to be when they sign him to like a 5-year, $200-something million contract?
I think they're not going to be that mad because they look
Then he
like
plays
contenders with them.
Then he plays 45 games.
Yeah. They can withstand his
mad.
45 games, though, as long as he's healthy for the playoffs.
All right, let's do this lottery, man. I want to see the Blazers get the first pick.
All right, let's do this thing. So I always simulate it, scroll down and scroll up, so it's like a real lottery, right? That's how I always do it. So I also got soundboard things queued up that go with it. At 14 is the Pelicans. At 13 is the Blazers. Would you be mad if the Warriors pick moved up into the top 4, considering the Blazers would get next year and only be top 1 protected in a better draft?
No, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah. Also, if they're dead set on trading it, I kind of want it to move up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be best case scenario because, I don't think the Blazers are going to compete next season. So, like,
no way.
I would rather have it, like you said, I think the Blazers would be more likely to try to trade that for players. Cronin even said that at the trade deadline, like, we want to trade for players. I've heard that's their strategy going into the offseason. Like, they don't necessarily want young players. They want good players, good young players.
They
they're
actually just want to be good enough to be stuck in the middle again.
They do. And so I would rather have that pick convey next season to a better draft.
Yeah, it's disgusting, man. Like, Eric's been saying that for the longest time, but it's like a little different also hearing you say it.
Well, ever since like, the 99-2000 season when they competed and they lose to the Lakers in Game 7, which was just heartbreak. I'll never forget it. I did a whole project on it. I'll never forget those days when Shaq got the dunk. But like ever since then, they've never tried to compete for a championship. It's just like, hey, can we make the playoffs? And then they would always sell, we're the team with the longest active playoff streak. Like that's what they would sell. And that's fine. But like, it's not what I want. I want one championship. I want to bring my kids to the parade. That's all I want. Even though Portland's kind of scary. I don't know if I'd go to the parade now, but that's a different.
You can throw the parade up here in Vancouver. It's better up
I
here.
work in downtown Portland. I know the parade would be on Broadway. If it goes anywhere close to downtown, I might be out.
I mean, there would probably hopefully be enough police/normal people that it would be fine. Right?
Have you been to downtown lately?
No.
All right, who's got the 12th pick? Let's do it.
12th pick, OKC via Houston. 11th pick, Chicago. 10th pick, Atlanta. 9th pick is Memphis, moving down 2 spots. So we got what? That's Utah and Brooklyn's pick to Houston?
Downtown is fine, shaking my head. You want to know what I saw the other day in downtown Portland?
Do I?
I saw this lady, and they were just like standing there being weird, like kind of vibing and dancing. I'm like, this is kind of weird. And then I looked, they had no arms. So I didn't want to like make a big thing out of it. But then they like elevated up and looked at me, and she wasn't wearing a shirt. And then I looked around the back, and her pants were all the way down to her ankles. So she was basically a naked girl with no arms dancing. If that's fine, then yeah, downtown is fine.
Yeah. No hate on the no arms thing, but the naked thing, that's a problem.
It was weird.
You can't take your kids down there. I've seen videos of, I don't know,
what I just described to Tori, like it probably sounds bad, but it was a little better than I thought it'd be. Like it wasn't the worst thing.
Wasn't the worst thing you've seen?
Yeah, I was like, that kind of is not, better looking than I thought for a no arm lady. I'll give her that.
Aeromancer says if she doesn't have arms, at least she's not going to stab you.
That's a good point.
Hey, maybe with her foot though.
Ooh.
Maybe she has a toenail sharpened into a point.
I actually try to pick things up with my feet, like to use them as hands. I'm surprised that we have people have not evolved to that, where like we pick things up with our hands.
Yeah.
It's hard to put clothes on with no arms. Now that, I like that.
True. You're just being insensitive. Okay.
Okay. Pick 8.
At 8, we have the San Antonio Spurs via Toronto.
Ooh.
So I don't know if you know this. Toronto's pick is top 6 protected, and right now they're 6th. So if that moves down a spot, it becomes San Antonio's. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's why they've been losing so many games. And then Portland should be at 7 now. And at 7 is the Charlotte Hornets moving down 4 spots. So with Steven, we get chaos and we get the Blazers moving up into the top 4. And we play our soundboard clip. Did you watch our draft lottery last year?
I don't remember.
It was hype. We had it at a round table pizza with like 25 people, and the room erupted when we moved up into the top 4. I got that soundboard.
No, I didn't. I
did
not.
I got that soundboard thing clipped up.
I didn't because I was hosting the show that day, so I couldn't listen.
Got you. Yeah. So I got our reaction to moving up clipped to the soundboard thing that I play every time we move up. It's a good soundboard thing, but chaos, man. So that means you got Washington and Detroit at 6 and 5. You had Portland move up. You had I don't even know who else. Who's 4? No, Charlotte's 4th. No, San Antonio's 4th. So San Antonio's top 4. All right, Washington, Detroit. Let's see if we can get the number 1 pick. We'll see if Steven's good luck. At 4 is your Portland Trailblazers. Okay, so our luck is mid with you, but it's better than bad.
Better than bad.
When I solo streamed last time,
better than bad.
Yeah, better than bad. When I solo streamed last time, we got number 1. So I think that's a sign, right?
That's gonna be the title of my book, Stephen Vaughn. Better than bad.
Better than bad. I like that. That should be a new saying.
So number 4. What would that be? Who's your pick at 4?
Oh God, Buzelis.
Zealous, huh? I thought people were down on him.
Some people are, but I feel like they're overthinking him. He's a 6'10", 6'11" big who can handle the ball. Secondary rim protector could actually be pretty good. Like, I think will be an okay defender. And then was a really good shooter until the G League Ignite. So you're hoping that he can kind of be the shooter he was before he played in the G League. But he was adjusting to an NBA three-point line. All these international college guys, they have a shorter three-point line. So I feel like people are just overthinking him. If you're drafting at the top of the draft, you should draft for upside. I couldn't imagine forward for the Blazers having more upside than a guy that can handle the ball, pass the ball a little bit like he does, has the feel for the game he does, the craftiness.
Because he's got more potential than Cody Williams. Because I like Cody Williams,
I like Cody Williams too.
He's never gonna be a star by any means.
I think he has a chance.
Yeah,
he just has to get a lot stronger, and he doesn't attempt many threes. He just has to get stronger. He's not as big as Buzelis.
Right.
And he fades away on a lot of his finishes, which worries me. Like, is he going to be somebody that always has that problem where he's like not finishing strong enough, not getting to the line? Athleticism concerns. Like, with a 6'10", 6'11" guy, you're less concerned with somebody who's not a great athlete because they're just so big. At like 6'7", 6'8" with Cody Williams, that is a bit of a concern for me.
Can you tell me what the good things are about Reed Shepherd and why he's like a top 5 projected pick?
Let's reveal the rest of this, then we'll do it. 3 is San Antonio, 2 is Utah, and 1 is Houston via Brooklyn. That's hilarious.
Ooh.
I mean, Reed Shepherd could be the best shooter in the league after Steph and Dame retire.
You think so?
He shot 52% from 3.
Yeah, the college 3.
Yeah, but still, that's insane. That's insane. 52. He made more than half his threes.
I guess, man. I don't know.
And then, like, defensively, he might struggle to stay in front of quicker guards, but he does have good hands. He gets a lot of deflections, average 2.5 steals a game. Like,
is he big? Like, is he big enough? Is he big enough? Like,
he's like 6'2".
And is he a point guard, or is he a 6'2" shooting guard? Is he Ben Gordon?
You know what is like?
He's Ben Gordon.
Here's the interesting thing, though. With more and more forwards / front court players that can like handle some point guard duties, I think you can play guys like a Reed Shepherd at a point guard spot. He's like kind of a combo. Average over 4 assists. Like, he can pass. He's just not the quickest guy, not the sharpest like playmaker, ball handler. He's good enough to be like a part-time point. So you'd probably want him on a team with like Apollo. Or a team with a Jokic. Like a team with a front court guy that can handle some point guard initiation duties where they can take the pressure off of him. Because, I mean, he could be an elite, potentially the best shooter in the league after Steph and Dame retire. Obviously, it's going to be hard to get to that point, but He truly has that level of upside as a shooter. So it's like you're taking that, you're taking the fact that he can pass a little bit, and you're taking the fact that he has good hands, can get deflections, kind of a smart defensive player, and that's something to bet on in a league that values shooting.
Yeah, I mean, he can shoot and he can score, so he's gonna have a spot in the league. I don't know. I just feel like it's just because it's such a weak draft. That's why he's gonna be going that high. Like in a regular draft, he's like a end of the lottery pick.
I think I have him like 6th or 7th on my big board. I know
Eric so
has him like
you're
11
lower.
or 12. Eric's lower on him than I am. Eric loves, I don't know if you've heard of this dude, John Salon.
Eric would love the guy, but he loves all those guys.
The international guys?
Yeah, he finds these random dudes. Wasn't he big on like Ibu Baji before the Blazers got him? Like,
he
wasn't
had him like
big
20th.
Yeah, like Eric's been right on a few of those things of like, who is this guy? And then it's like, oh no, he's actually in the NBA now.
Yeah, he likes the unknown. No, he loves Oric Chomchi. So
I'll take his word on it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He does love the unknown guys. Salon. Yeah. He likes Salon for his upside. I see why he likes Salon.
Do you know
if
Eric was huge on Giannis back in the day?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Because that's a guy that that's totally a guy that Eric would be like, dude, have you ever heard of this Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Dude.
Like 6'9", 6'10", just unbelievably athletic, but just so skinny, scrawny, but he's going to be so good. Like, that's a guy
I would have loved Giannis. Like, with the way I evaluate prospects, yeah, because a big thing I look for is just, like, movement patterns. Like, the way guys move, especially with the ball in their hands. Like, do they just instinctually make plays off the dribble, Euro step, spin moves? Like, can they change direction quick? Can they accelerate, decelerate, change pace? Like, all that sort of stuff. Just the way he moved, I would have loved for a 6'9", 6'10" athletic guy that can also, like, read. Like, you could tell that he could see things happening quick enough. Like, some of his passes just made so quick for that size. Like, you bet on that, the upside in that. So, I was still in high school back then, unfortunately. But, like, that's the type of guy I feel like both of us would have been really high on. He doesn't like Ricochet as much as consensus. Like, he's lower on Ricochet. I'm even lower. I have Ricochet like 11th or 12th. Topic, he's a little lower on as well. I don't like Topic as a prospect as well. So there are a couple of international guys he's lower on. Are you
still low on Holland?
No, I have him 3.
Oh, so you like him now? Because you were down on him for a little bit.
I was down on him for a little bit. At the end of the day, like, I'm trying not to overly overthink the G League Ignite guys. And it's like, you got a guy really quick first step. Should be a really good defender. Long arms, like, athlete. Can create off the bounce a little bit. There's a level of upside with that. He just
do you think this draft actually has, like, low-key some decent role players in it?
Yeah, here's the thing. I hate how people gloss over this draft in terms of, like, it's a bad draft, because I think it's bad in the top 10, and then it's a normal draft deeper into the draft. Like, you got guys that'll be good role players for sure in the,
Tristan Da Silva.
He'll probably be a good role player. Devin Carter. He has to... Yeah. He has to hit threes, but if he can hit threes, like, he rebounds, he plays lockdown defense, he can finish at the rim a little bit and knock down some threes, like, that's a role player, right? That's basically Pat Bev, like, is who I see Devin Carter being. You got, I don't know, like, Terrence Shannon with his legal issues is questionable, right? But he looks like a dude that can play. I don't even want to go into his legal stuff.
I don't know that I agree with you, because what's his arm? He has short arms, isn't he?
A little bit, but he drives so strong and uses his body so well. Yeah, he's 6'8", wingspan, 6'6.5".
Defense, I don't know that he's quick enough. Like, I don't know.
He may be able to score. He might not pan out, he can score. But I can see that guy being a 6-man. You know what I mean? Like,
I can see that. I can see that guy coming in on a tanking team and averaging 19 a night.
Is there any prospect you really dislike?
Like, dislike?
Just in terms of, like, their game at the NBA level?
Sheesh. I'm just kind of going through the draft here. No, not that I just...
not that I hate. I don't love Filipowski.
Let's go. Okay, I agree with you.
I know you hate him. I don't like Filipowski. I don't like it. Shannon, I don't think is gonna be great.
What does Filipowski do well at the NBA level?
Kind of shoot.
34.8%, and he's a 67% free throw shooter. Like
yeah, like I said,
he's probably
like I said, kind of.
Not
shoot.
well though. Not well though.
Yeah, he can shoot. He doesn't make. He can shoot.
Yeah.
No, I would say though, like those two guys, like in the first round, projected first round, are the two guys I'm like, I don't think I really necessarily like them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Filipowski. I don't like there's.
I mean, Furphy. You don't like Furphy.
I don't like Furphy a whole lot. I just feel like he is only a shooter. And people like 6'9" and can shoot. He doesn't play 6'9".
Yeah.
I don't like. God, there's somebody else. I mean, like
the other guy
that have Zach in the lottery,
like,
I think are crazy.
Right. Well, yeah, they're crazy. The other guy that I like, that I think should be a first round pick, is Harrison Ingram, North Carolina.
Yeah, you've been.
I think he should be a late first round pick. Not that he'll be any good, but he'll be a role player. He'll be a really good role player. Step in right away and play.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he needs to be like legitimately 6'7" if he's not big enough. Like if he's undersized at the 3, I have question marks. The measurements this year are going to be interesting. Every prospect has to measure this year, even the top ones, which is awesome.
No, you are right with that. He does have to measure 6'7". Like if he's not 6'7", then yeah, it's gonna be different. But he's got long arms. He developed his jump shot every single year in college. Like he's never gonna be a star, but when he's a role player with Carolina this year, he's really good in that role. Like I think he can do that in the NBA.
Yeah.
Johnny Broom, what about him? You like him?
I haven't thought of him as an NBA draft prospect. I've watched Auburn a bit, and he was good. I just haven't really like looked at him in the lens of can he be an NBA player?
Yeah.
I've started to see that he's been getting some love lately though. I don't really like Kevin McCullough. He's too old with too many question marks and injury issues. I don't like Ryan Dunn. There's no way Ryan Dunn should go top 20. He is so bad offensively. He plays like a center offensively.
Ryan Dunn from Jackass?
No. You know Ryan Dunn not from Jackass. Virginia. He's like
R.I.P. to him.
He's like the best perimeter defender in the class, but he's like 20% from 3, 53% from the free throw line is a 6'8".
Sounds like Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, no, he'll be better on ball. Like he's athletic. He's so bad. He's the type of guy that a team will take in the first round and hope that they can develop him into a 3-point shooter, and then you got like an elite 3-and-D guy. But
depending on what Tyler Kolek, what he measures at, does he have a little Pajimski in him?
I kind of see it, but
like kind of just the baller that plays basketball and is solid.
Yeah,
but he has to be big. If he's 6'3", I mean that's gonna be a problem. But
like, how much is he gonna be able to create at the next level? I'm not sure. But he can pass. He can handle.
Pajimski can't either
shoot.
though.
Yeah, Pajemski's a little bigger than him, isn't he? Though, or was he 6'3"?
He's probably a little bigger.
Yeah, that's the thing is Pajemski is an easier fit off the ball, and I think he's a better defender than Kolek.
My man Evan Giddens says Pajemski's not a great defender though. He said he's good. He said he's good off ball. He's solid on ball, but off ball he gets lost. He's listed at 6'4". So
yeah, I just think Kolek is a guy that could just get
but he plays bigger,
beat off the dribble. Like I think Kolek will maybe be I don't know. Like I haven't watched a ton of his defense, so maybe I'm tripping. It's just the undersized point guard thing.
Yeah.
Like unless you can really score the ball in ways at the college level that I can see translating, it's tough, right? Because I've had people say like Mark Sears is a late first round pick, and I'm just like
Mark Sears of Alabama.
Yeah.
Who says that?
Somebody that might be watching our stream right now. I'm not.
Isn't he like 5'10"?
Yeah. I mean, he can play. He's too small. He's too small for me. I've never really liked those older small guards. It's like the guys. You remember Grant Riller?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, he could be really good. Like, this could be a steal. And it's just like, older, mid-major, small guard.
Well,
like, I didn't get it. And then he's just nothing, you know? So
how many guys under 6 foot are in the NBA? Isaiah Thomas?
yeah.
Am I missing anybody else?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough.
Like
even
that-
if you're as
that's a problem.
athletically freakish as Scoot is, it's tough to even be a 6'2", 6'3" guard. You
That's
either
what I'm
got to
saying,
shoot at a super elite level or be, like, really good at everything else.
Marcus Noel, is he in the NBA or is he in the G League?
He's in the G League. In the G League.
Yeah.
Tristan Newton, I think, could be something. Eric really likes him.
Stephon Castle.
I love.
He's a baller.
Castle, dude. I
He's a
wouldn't
baller.
mind getting him if he's big enough to play the 3. See, that's the thing is, like, if we're sitting there with a 6th pick, like, I wouldn't mind Castle, but you just add him to that perimeter group.
I know that's the problem. Like, I'm with you. I love Castle, but where does he fit into this team? He doesn't. This team's terrible.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal. This draft is going to be interesting for that. Like, Cody Williams is a 3 too. How do you fit him? Buzelis is a 4. Tankathon has him listed as a small 4. He's a 4. So at least he's a 4. Risa Shea is better as a 3. Like, I just don't see how they make it work. Even if they drafted Sarr, what, you're going to bring him off the bench? And you're also going to, like, you got Ayton and Grant next year? And then you're going to bring Sarr off the bench and take him number 1? Because you got Ayton and Grant and you're paying them a combined $60-some million? And then
I mean, at that point,
you're going to bring Robert
you would
Williams
have
back?
to trade. You would have to trade Jeremy Grant to somebody, right?
I mean, either way, they have to duck the tax, and they're gonna, depending on who they pick with their pick, they're gonna have just a major logjam at some position. In terms of guys that it's just like it's just watered down with somewhat mediocre role players that you can keep some of them, but you have a few too many that maybe are deserving to play, but it doesn't help this team to run a 13-man rotation next year. Like, you know what I mean? That's just stupid.
That's why you needed Ayton to be able to knock down threes. Then it doesn't matter. Just play positionless basketball.
Yeah. So this offseason is interesting, Steve, and I keep telling people this. Part of it is, like, I want people to be interested, obviously, because I'm doing daily videos in the offseason. But I do think it's really interesting in terms of the storyline of the tax, the storyline of what they do with the Warriors pick, where that ends up, obviously the lottery, and just what is their first year in a legitimate rebuild, even though they still won't use that word in press conferences. What does the first offseason of that actually look like? I think it's going to be one of the most interesting off seasons in a while. And it's not like you have the pressure, like, you got to do something for Dame hanging over the head.
That's the thing. That's what makes it so interesting to me is, like, there's no pressure to be like, hey, the Blazers have to be good this year. There's no pressure about it. So, like, we have literally no idea what they're going to do.
It's just different. Like
would it shock you? Would it shock you, Tori, if they're like, okay, we're just going to go super young. Like, we're just going to unload and we're going to draft a bunch of dudes. We're going to trade Jeremy Grant, trade Brogdon, and they did that. Or they just added vets and they're like, we're going to try to compete for the play-in. Like, I have no idea. And it wouldn't surprise me either way.
I hate the whole add vets thing. That is the one thing I'm stressed about right now. I hate the idea.
But you can see it happening, right?
I think that's what will happen.
And that's the thing is, that's why I
you
find
already
it
got
so
all
interesting.
these role players. It's like there's all this talk. They're going to trade the Warriors pick. Some people swear that they're going to trade the Warriors pick. It's like, okay, for what? You don't even know where it's going to be. It's weird. Yeah. And what? You're going to trade it for a role player? You already got a bunch of role players. You already got too many role players.
Yeah.
So what are you going
to... There's no way we bring 4 rookies in with our 4 picks, right? I don't think so.
I mean, you can turn the 40th pick into a 2-way. I mean, like...
But at the same time, Tori, like, I don't think they are. I don't think they should. But when they do, am I going to be shocked? No, I'm not going to be shocked when they draft 4 guys. They're like, we're going to build around these 4 guys.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather have... There's going to be a player available at the Blazers' first, second-round pick that I would rather have than Chris Murray. Let's just say that right now. Chris Murray was such a bad pick, Steven. I try to word people, too, like, stop comparing him to Keegan.
He's not.
Like, we do that too much with brothers, right? It's like there's some people that legitimately want Cody Williams because he's Jalen Williams' brother. It's like It doesn't really work like that. Normally there's a good brother and a not so good brother.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's Brooke was always better than Robin, right? So I don't know. Like,
Yeah, my take on Chris Murray when he was drafted, I remember telling you this. I think I might even tweet it. I was like, Chris Murray has an NBA size. Besides that, he's not an NBA shooter. He's not an NBA defender. He's not an NBA dribbler. He doesn't do anything on an NBA level besides be big enough.
yeah. I mean,
That's it.
I don't know what's the right word
No,
for
he's
it.
not.
He's smart.
He's not
He's a smart player.
Yeah, then he can't shoot and he can't finish and
Yeah.
he turns it over and he can't play defense. Like, what?
He hit threes tonight.
Oh, cool. So he moved up to 25% on the season. Awesome.
4 for 6 from 3. I always get people that love Chris Murray. Every time he has a good shooting night, like, kind of give me crap. And it's like, oh, what is he shooting on the season?
He's the end of a bench type of guy because you're right. He is smart. He's not going to cause problems. Like, that's cool. Like, if he's going to be your 14th guy, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I don't get it. And that's the thing. He shot 33.5%. I remember that percentage exactly. 33.5%.
At Iowa.
His final
He wasn't
year
a good
at Iowa.
shooter.
Like,
He wasn't a good shooter.
and people were like, "Oh, he shoots a bunch of tough shots. Like, he's gonna get easier shots in the NBA. Like, look at Keegan." It's just like it doesn't work like that, right? Like, we can't just assume that just because somebody plays like a star and is gonna end up a role player that they're gonna shoot better because of it. You got a deeper 3-point line. His form, the ball comes out of his hand different almost every shot.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was listening to a little bit of a podcast that was said in chat a little bit ago, and I was curious, and one of the things that was said is, like, in the Blazers practice facility, Chris has the lowest amount of variation on his 3-point shots according to their, like, tracker, like some sort of shot tracker in their gym that tracks, like, every shot or whatever. Lowest amount of variation. It's like, cool. I don't care. There's a difference between shooting in the practice facility and shooting in games. But it's like, oh, say that to get people's hopes up, like he's going to be a good shooter. Okay. He's shooting 27% from 3. And so many of his attempts are wide open. Like, I was going back through, logging his missed threes for these player reviews I'm doing. I watched the Spurs game from earlier in the year. He was like 0 for 6. I don't know if he made one, but, like, there was like 6 misses where there was nobody in his vicinity, like, completely wide open. I was sitting there watching it like, dang, I think Steven could have made one of these threes.
I don't know about that, but
it's just hey, I wish he was a good shooter. If he was a good shooter, he could be a role player, but you have him locked up next year.
he's a fine guy.
First round pick.
He's fine to have on the team. I don't have a problem with him being on the team. I don't think that he's going to be a role player in the NBA. That's fine.
The thing is are they ready to give up on him for somebody new? Like, are they going to try and play him next year because they spent a first round pick on him?
I think no. I don't think that they'll feel obligated. I think they've done that before where they've had former first round picks or whatever. Like, in the history of the NBA, there's lots of guys like that play one year that don't play the next year.
We got 2.
Unless he just dominates.
Yeah.
In the summer league.
I'm getting distracted by the 2 people beefing in our chat. Can you 2 behave? We got
to go on a 5-minute timeout.
It's like my you know, you're a guest, you're over at my house, and I got, like, my children misbehaving. Embarrassing me.
5-minute timeout.
You guys need to behave or I'm putting you in timeout.
Go sit on the stairs.
I don't even know what's been said. I've seen a couple of things. It's just confusing. And then toxic masculinity is always cool. What is that in reference to? This is my chat.
Probably me, I'm guessing.
It.
I probably said something.
No way. That's not you. Stephen is not toxic masculinity.
I am definitely not masculine. I can tell you that. I am not a man. I am not a manly man. I can admit that.
You have emotions?
Oh, very.
Wow.
I am very emotional, actually. I'm not joking. I'm just I'm an introvert. I don't care.
You don't get emotional about the Blazers though.
No, I don't, because it has to be stuff that I truly like love and care about. Then I'll be emotional. But like, I love the Blazers, but like, I understand at the end of the day it's sports. So like, I can't be like truly in love with them.
See, it's gotten tough because if the Blazers are better, the channel does better. It's like my life's work.
Yeah. I know. I feel every time the Blazers like stink, I think of that. I'm like, man.
See, but you know what? Every time they lose by 60, my streams do a lot better. Like if they're good, they do better, and if they are bad enough, they do better. Strange. Like a game like this, yeah, it's not as interesting as if they lose by 62 to the Thunder, because they know I'm gonna rant about it. And
ooh, what are you going to order on DoorDash there?
oh, you see my DoorDash?
Yeah.
Oh,
what are you getting?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Are you going to get it from that pizza place from the person's garage again?
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. I thought I was on a different tab. I haven't eaten all day, so.
Well, let's bounce out of here then.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else that you want to?
Get a little T-bell, I see though. Huh? Nah, man. I think we touched on a lot of random stuff. That was a lot of fun though.
Okay, that's a sigh of relief, because on the DoorDash page, at the very top right, it has my address.
Oh.
I was not trying to leak my address on stream.
At least it was only DoorDash and it wasn't like some other, weird page.
Yeah, that would have been bad. No, I don't go on weird pages. I don't even know what you would be talking about. I just got here. Let's start over. DoorDash, cool. So no, I haven't I legitimately played 3 hours of basketball.
Okay.
I have
Welcome to the
today.
Blazers post-game wrap-up show. Yeah.
I always love when people like tune in an hour and a half into a stream and are like, Scoot had 25 points. They're like, have you talked about Scoot yet? It's like,
discuss.
yeah. But anyway, dude, this has been fun. It's funny because you talk about, I've heard you talk about how do you guys go for 2 hours? It's really easy. You just sit down, talk, and chat. Keeps us entertained, and it's a lot of fun.
Fair.
So I appreciate you hanging out with me, and we'll have to do more live streams in the off season. I think that's something I want to do more of with you, because it is fun with chat here and not having to post a podcast. So
no, for sure, man. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate the invite. Let's do it again.
Yeah, 100%. Blazers lose. We didn't really talk about the game at all. But
they played today?
Covered,
I forgot.
Though. Yeah. Well, actually, it was yesterday. A little late here. But backdoor cover, 21-58. Got him for 60 losses. Still a chance to get fourth best odds. That'd be pretty cool. Some good performances by Ayton. Scoot Henderson, 15 assists, career high. Other than that, not much to write home about. CJ McCollum returns to Portland and drops 29 on their heads. Trey Murphy, we didn't even talk about this. Trey Murphy, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists.
He kills the Blazers. Ever since you guys wanted to trade the 3rd pick in the draft for him, he kills the Blazers.
Hey, I didn't want to, but I thought it was, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, the 14th pick, and 1 or 2 future firsts? The Lakers had some unprotected firsts we were looking at.
Let's not. I don't want to start. Let's not start this because it's going to go for another hour.
Plus 22,
by the way,
31 points
bro,
from my guy
if
Trey
you're
Murphy.
Take a shot at my bald head. Spell my name right. Come on now, bro.
Dro is our resident troll hater.
That's not even Steven though. That's Stefan.
Yeah, Stephen Curry is not bald, bro.
Yeah, Chauncey or Steph Curry's hair. Oh, Steph's not bald.
Did you cover Giannis's Achilles injury? What is he talking about?
I don't know. Did he get hurt in this game today? Did he play today?
Now I have to look up Giannis.
I wasn't paying attention. I was working today. I was working.
He has a left calf strain.
It'll be fine.
It's right before the playoffs.
Exactly. He doesn't want to play the rest of the year until the playoffs. Classic.
Bro, he was just he inbounded the ball to Dame and was just jogging up the court.
Well, that's not good.
And then just goes down. I mean, dude, watch. He's not going to play in the playoffs, and Dame is going to be in the same position he's always been in. Oh man, that's brutal. Oh god.
That's brutal. Poor Dame, dude. Poor Dame. I'm not even a huge Dame fan, and I feel bad for him at that point.
Yeah, so hopefully Giannis will be healthy. The good thing with the play-in is you do have more time between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs, right? So more time to recover from that sort of stuff. But yeah, we'll have another post-game show Thursday. Eric's going to try and do it from a sports book. I have no idea how that works. But if not, we'll figure it out. But appreciate you guys hanging out with me and Steven and I. It's funny because I said me and Steven before and had somebody in our comments section like ranting about how it's improper grammar. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with Steven and I, and we'll have more for you guys after the end of the regular season. I'm looking forward to it. That ends Sunday. We'll have 2 more episodes of Picks Against the Spread on our second channel as well. That'll be on Friday and Sunday, and we'll see if Steven can complete the greatest story ever told with his enormous comeback effort from last for half the year to potentially first. He's 2 games back, I believe, right now of first place. But I'm
Stephen Vaughn better. Stephen Vaughn better than bad.
Better than bad. Anyway, we're out of here. I'll catch you guys on Thursday, and we'll see what that looks like. No stream on Thursday. Blazers Uprise live once again on Friday. Just the postgame on Thursday. And with that being said, we're out of here. The Blazers lose again, 21-58. We'll catch you guys next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.